Welcome to The Lady Killers, a feminine rage podcast. Hello and welcome to The Lady Killers, a feminine rage podcast. I am your host, Jennifer's Body Adams, and I don't know if I've mentioned it on the pod, but I have OCD. I got diagnosed a couple of years ago, but now that I think about it, one of the earliest signs is that in the summer, I used to watch the same movies every day. I had this whole thing lined up. There was a summer where I would watch all of my USA shows. And then I would watch my game shows. Just the 10 of Us was usually one of them. And then I would watch Dirty Dancing. And then I would watch Terminator 2 for like an entire summer, every single day. When I was,
dream summer.
Right. There was one summer when I had surgery, which I've talked about before, but while recovering, I watched The Rock every single day. And I kept making my dad go back to Blockbuster and rent it for me. And now I think back and I'm like, yeah, I think I probably maybe had a little OCD,
You know, it's happens to the best of us.
Exactly. And it did help that TNT and USA used to play the same 90s movies all the time. So I could record them on TV and I could watch them. The reason I'm bringing this up is because the movie we're covering today was a repeat watch for me. I watched this a ton. And I think it informed a lot of how I see the world, which is weird, or at least some things that I was scared of. What movie is that? Today, we are continuing Pregnancy Horror Month with The Hand That Rocks the Cradle. This is the original 1992 film, and I'm so fucking excited. But I'm not alone. I'm joined by a fabulous panel. I feel like I do that every time. I'm joined by a fabulous panel of Lady Killer experts. Shelby, say hello and tell us, who's your favorite Ghostbuster?
Hello, I'm Shelby Novak, and funny enough, my favorite Ghostbuster is in this movie, and I didn't realize he was. And when he walked up, I was like, what are you doing
Winston?
here?
And then you went, what are you doing?
And then I went, what are you? Because I know we're going to get to it, but this was I did remember seeing this on TV a lot growing up, but I only saw bits and pieces. This is my first full watch through, and before I was a kid when I saw those bits and pieces. And so yes, that was quite the surprise. That was quite the surprise.
Yeah.
But we'll get into it.
We sure will. Yes, we are going to talk about this movie, warts and all. Rachel, say hello and tell us who's your favorite Ghostbuster.
Hi, it's Rachel, and my favorite Ghostbuster. Excuse me, we got one. Janine Melnitz.
Yes.
I mean, she is a Ghostbuster.
She is a Ghostbuster.
Absolutely the fuck is.
She is part of the crew, a critical part. And I just love Annie Potts. Like, I'm a sucker for curly-haired, quirky woman with a unique voice in movies. Carol Kane, like any of that is just, she's iconic. But of course, if I had to pick one of the men in the movies,
if we have to,
I think I'm gonna go. I think I'm gonna go with Ray.
I get it.
He's just,
I like Ray.
I like Ray. He just is like a very sweet, kind of dumpy dork kind of guy, but also like really smart and funny. Definitely not. But definitely not Venkman.
Yeah, no.
Red flags.
Agree. Yes,
No.
He's funny, but you don't want to date him.
Yeah, love him in he needs to be in the movie. I don't need to be around him.
Yeah. It's funny. The Ghostbuster I'm most likely to hook up with, if we're not counting Chris Hemsworth, because I count him too.
Well, yeah.
He's super. I mean, I've got eyes. I think I would probably hook up with Egon before I would hook up with any of the other ones because he's smart and I don't know. But Winston is my favorite. And that's maybe partly because of this movie, because I think I saw this around the time. But I also, one of my favorite parts of Ghostbusters 2, which is the superior Ghostbusters film, I stand by this, is when they're in the train and then the ghost train comes by and it goes, and everybody, like the echoes, and then they says, Winston. And it's just, I love it.
Ghostbusters 2 is my favorite too because the Titanic.
Yes, and the Statue of Liberty and the soundtrack. Sorry, I'm trying not to yell in the mic. It's so good.
Yeah. Oh, and the paint. Ghostbusters 2. is one of those scarred me for life kind of thing. Like still to this day, if I take a bath, I'm keeping an eye on that faucet. I'm like, a pink ooze starts coming out of this faucet. It's over.
Well, and if you're like strolling a baby carriage too, you know?
Oh, the baby carriage. Oh my God. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And I also I think I saw it before one. So my introduction to the Ghostbusters was Ray and Winston at that birthday party. And they're like, yay, doing the dance. And then they're like, yeah, you know? So, you know, the heart loves a familiar thing. I don't know.
It does.
But yes, he, you know, we may have some things to say about him in this movie. We'll get to it. But before we do, let's go to our first category, her story.
I am so much happier now that I'm dead. Technically missing. Soon to be presumed dead. Gone. And my lazy, lying, cheating, oblivious husband will go to prison for my murder.
This is the section where we tell the story of the film. Spoilers abound, so listen to your own risk. The Bartells are a happy family living in a gorgeous Seattle house with so much natural light that it makes me die of joy.
Which, sorry, already, I don't know if I don't know where this was filmed. Maybe it was filmed in Seattle, but as a Pacific
There's no way.
Northwesterner, it is not that sunny.
No, I know. I was like, what? Oh, I love this house so much, though. It is so pretty. And I think I grew up thinking this is what like neighborhoods were, you know, like if I grow up and in my heart is pure, I can have a house like this.
Oh yeah, this is like suburban perfection for sure.
Oh, and I was like, well, as a mom, I won't have a job and I'll just build greenhouses for fun.
Oh yeah,
you know?
as the movie opens, I was like, the 90s. This 90s suburbia was just so idyllic. Oh my God.
With that music, you know?
The music. Yes.
Love it. So Claire, Michael, and their daughter Emma welcome in Solomon, and that is Winston/Ernie Hudson, a mentally handicapped man from the Better Days Society who will be building a white picket fence around their property. Claire is also expecting, and when she goes to a second trimester appointment, her new doctor molests her. After some debate with Michael, Claire reports Dr. Mott to the state medical board, and then 4 more women come forward. Faced with criminal charges, Dr. Mott dies by suicide, leaving his pregnant wife, Peyton, behind. When she realizes that she's about to lose everything, shades of Erica from Real Housewives of Beverly Hills.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, that's from reality TV, sorry. She faints and goes into preterm labor. She ends up losing the baby and having to have an emergency hysterectomy. And I think I watched that as a kid and I was like, whoa. I better not get too upset.
I know, we'll talk, but it's traumatic. It's a deeply affecting scene.
Oh yeah, this movie starts off with a bang, you know, and then goes so many different places. Like as I was watching, like creating the outline, I was like, oh yeah, we're talking about sexual assault in this movie. Yeah. Okay, so months later, Claire has had her baby and seems to be doing well. Solomon has grown closer to the family, but isn't allowed to hold baby Joe. Claire wants to build a greenhouse in the backyard, and Michael suggests she hire a nanny. After rejecting a bunch of candidates, a familiar woman named Peyton appears. She seems perfect for the job, probably overqualified, but she makes a good impression on Claire. When Emma and Michael approve also, they hire her to live in their basement. I also really wanted to see the inside of this room, you know? I don't know why I was fixated on that, but I was like, is this a nice room or not, you know?
Yeah.
But Peyton gives Solomon the evil eye and finds Claire's earring in the baby's mouth. She begins subtly sabotaging Claire while manipulating Emma. Part of Peyton's tactics include creating the appearance of an affair between Michael and his ex-girlfriend/family friend Marlene, which leads to the worst surprise party in all time.
I had to pause the movie. I got so much secondhand embarrassment in that scene. Oh my God. We will get into it, but I literally looked at my cat and was like, what is that? I was like, no, no. I haven't felt that since the Marnie scene of Girls where she does the Kanye rap. Like that was the level of feeling I got from this scene. Anyway, we'll move. I just had to say that. I was just,
it's so drawn out too.
In my body.
You're like, is she actually going to walk in there? And then when she does, and they're like,
How could you not, though? It's like,
I know.
she knows that they know, and it's like,
Yeah.
oh, God.
If I were Michael, I would be like, "It's okay, everybody. We're not fucking. She's wrong."
And like Marlene leaves, but I was like, "Well, do you
I
leave or
know.
are you just like, what a funny mistake you made because we were
Sorry.
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. Happy birthday, indeed.
Happy birthday.
Whew. So Peyton has also been breastfeeding Joey on the sly, meaning he's not hungry when Claire tries to nurse him. Cue Jen's head exploding. That is not how nursing works. Also, it's been 6 months since the baby was born. Is she pumping every day? Where's all that milk? I have so many questions about how this is fucking possible.
I'm always glad you're here, but I'm extra
Me too,
glad
because
you're
I
here.
was like, I would have had no idea. I'm in
Same.
movie land. Rachel and I over here in movie land, like, yeah, that's how it works.
Well, that's what I thought for most of my life until I had to do it. And I was like, okay, the least surprising thing in the world is when you can't get a baby to nurse because it's really fucking hard. But also, like, that's not how it works. Like, even if she did have milk, like, she would have had to start pumping immediately after this really traumatic surgery. She may not have been able to give any milk at all because she wasn't that far along. And just this idea that she has been continuing to pump this entire time for this, like, plot to, like, fuck Claire over. It's just, I was like, what? Anyways. Okay, and that's the last of my
I
breastfeeding.
appreciate it because I was like, well, wet nurses existed, so I guess this is what that is.
Yeah.
But I
That's
never
true.
thought about that. Yeah.
And look, here's the thing. It's probably technically possible, but with my experience, like, it was hard enough for me to do it just with a baby right there that was hungry and, like, crying, like, let alone to, like, do this Machiavellian plot, this to, like, boob overtake some woman in her house. And maybe I'm just a little bit jealous too, because I had a hard time with it. And I eventually was like, good, formula exists, But okay, sorry. The last thing I will say is she would have to, like, jump in there and get him right before his schedule too, because he's probably going to be a little bit hungry. He's not going to refuse the boob altogether because babies just want food. They don't care what boob it is, And I think that just the logistics of this, also, you wouldn't think something's wrong. You would think maybe he's not hungry, or maybe he doesn't, like, maybe I'm having trouble breastfeeding, not something is wrong with the baby. Anyways. Okay. Anybody has anything to say about this? Tell me in the comments, because I'm worried that I'm speaking through the lens of my own personal experience. So anyways. Okay. Jen is calming herself down. Oh, okay. So when Solomon sees Peyton nursing the baby, Peyton plants Emma's underwear in his toolbox, creating the appearance that he's being inappropriate with her. This makes me want to punch her in the fucking face.
Yeah.
The family makes him leave, which creates even more distance between Emma and Claire. When Marlene does a little real estate sleuthing, she realizes that Dr. Peyton is Dr. Mott's widow and rushes to tell Claire. But she makes the mistake of telling Peyton her suspicions.
Yeah.
Peyton sends... Right?
I know.
Like,
I know.
have you never seen a movie before? Right. Yes. Peyton sends Marlene out to the greenhouse where she's rigged the glass to shatter all over her. Claire returns to find her bloody body and has a severe asthma attack. Unfortunately, Peyton has also drained all of her inhalers. And these two things have, I think, scarred me for life. I was like, greenhouses aren't safe and you can die. Like, just... as I was watching her laying on the porch with her eye, like, and just kind of, like, gasping for breath.
Yeah,
I was like,
that was great. The acting from both of them in that scene was great, because watching her drain the inhalers with that, like, like that kind of blank look on her face was amazing. It was so scary.
Ooh. But yeah, I remember this, like, really fucked me up as a kid. It's like, what is grown-up life like? And what am I going to have to dodge when I'm a grown-up? Thankfully, paramedics arrive just in time. But while Claire is in the hospital, Peyton puts the moves on Michael. Claire retraces Marlene's steps and also figures out who Peyton is. She and Michael kick her out of the house, but before they can go to a hotel, she sneaks back in. Peyton attacks Michael with a shovel, breaking both his legs. He's useless. She also attacks Claire and tells Emma that she's her mommy now. Along with Joey, they're going to be a proper family. But Emma's not stupid and hides baby Joey in the closet after locking Peyton in the nursery. Rampaging through the house, the Shining style. And I have more thoughts on that. Peyton follows Emma and Joey up to the attic only to find Solomon trying to help them escape. He's been following them around to make sure they're safe. Solomon protects Joey while Claire fights her Mamo a Mamo.
Oh boy.
I know. I could not help it.
Yes.
Apologize to everyone. I'm so sorry.
No, never apologize.
Don't apologize for that.
The train was coming right at me and I could not jump out of the way
you saw
of that
an
joke.
opportunity and you took it, and I love that.
It's a mom joke. Ooh, I'm sorry. Okay, I'll stop. So Claire eventually pushes Peyton out the attic window where she's impaled on the white picket fence. I also think I've had a slight fear of white picket fences because of this movie too. I know. Okay, Rachel, what is your story with the hand that rocks the cradle?
My story began last night.
Oh, first one.
I watched this for the first time. Because here's the thing, I knew some beats of this movie. So it's kind of one of those things where it's like, I don't know. But there were definitely some things about this that did not seep in. That opening scene, the whole kind of inciting incident for this whole movie, did not know. I was like, not my cue.
Yeah.
From Star Trek. No, not my cue. Like, very upsetting movie. And I cannot tell you, my cuticles, my nails can tell you how much anxiety this movie
Oh my God,
gave
mine are
me.
too. Mine are bitten down to nothing.
Like, I was sitting there pretty much this entire movie, just like, oh my gosh, it's not, like, it wasn't scary, but I found myself so deeply, like, unsettled.
Yes.
And, like, a lot of the stuff we're going to get into, just like the interactions and the awkward scenarios and the gaslighting and everything. I'm like, this is really touching a nerve for me. I could not stop, like, just doing all the stims.
Yeah.
to manage it. I also, for some reason, thought there was an older version of this, and I think maybe because it's based off like an older story or something. I'm not exactly sure, but I was like, oh, 90s, okay. I did not grow up with cable, and so I don't remember like having access to this, but was so pleasantly surprised by this movie and the performances, and I'm now, having seen it, very excited to talk about this. Also, you had Mamo Amon Mamo. I just couldn't stop myself from like blurting out like mommy, mamacita throughout this whole movie. But that just shows you where I'm at. I'm like, Love Island reference.
Dude, well, Beyond the Villa is out now, so I have been tempted, but I gotta catch up on Beverly Hills first. So
Peyton's like, I'm a mommy. Emma's like,
mamacita?
Mamacita?
Just the stupidest thing anyone has ever said. But also, she's just like, I'm a mommy. Nobody says it like that.
I know the way she said it was so funny too. Her face the whole time. It was.
Yeah. It's very Peyton-esque. I could see Huda pulling this shit, you know?
Yeah.
Honestly. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, Shelby, you mentioned this was a quasi first watch for you.
Yeah,
so what's your
seen,
story?
like, again, it was on, USA or whatever sometimes. And like, I remember seeing pieces of it. I'd heard of it and how it was like one of the big, 90s like thrillers, which I miss these types of movies so much.
Me
like,
too.
And I know they just remade this one, but I didn't watch the remake because I was like, no, you know what? I should sit down and watch the original sometime. So when this came up for pregnancy month, I was like, oh, finally. I just hadn't done it. And there were so many surprises. For one, I remember I was on Reddit for something like completely, I was just like on Reddit. And I remember when the newer one came out, scrolling past someone in one of my like, I think horror subreddits or whatever. And someone said something about the lack of the character of Solomon in the new one. Of course, I had no idea what that meant. Didn't know why and it was like, and people were like upset at the lack of the character. And I was like, oh, huh. And I kind of remember that going into this. And I was like, oh, huh, I wonder like what this character's whole deal. Oh, there's the character's whole deal. Okay. I literally, like you said, Rachel, where it's like, Ernie Hudson. Okay.
Right? Like, oh no.
It throws a lot at you real quick.
It really does. It is a
really
whole
does.
world and you have to just jump right in.
Honest, yeah. Because for one, full disclosure, I've had the biggest crush on Ernie Hudson since I don't even remember when. Even now that he's in his 70s, I
Oh,
think.
yeah.
Still.
I mean, look at him.
Silver
Look at his
fox.
He's just
arms.
so
Oh.
great. I know, and so sweet
So yeah,
too,
I've
and I
had a yeah, exactly. I mean, honestly, the reason he's my favorite Ghostbuster, it's purely for selfish reasons. And but yeah, so I was like, so that was also another conflicting feeling in my body. I was like, Ernie Hudson, Ernie Hudson, okay. And so this movie, like you said, Rachel, it was. I mean, I have no nails left. I was like, I was petting my cat right, and she was in my lap while I was working, and I was like, I can't even scratch you properly. There's nothing left.
oh.
I was not expecting to be so affected by the openings of this movie. I mean, the molestation scene was so grounded. It wasn't overdone like I would have thought it would be for a movie like this. And it felt very like real in a way that I think a lot of women can really like relate to. I was so surprised when she told her husband and he's like, "Yeah, let's tell somebody." And I was like, "What? What? Okay.
What's that like?
How
Yeah, like
refreshing.
Uh-huh.
this was made in 1992. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, go husband. You're not the normal typical. You're not like other movie husbands." Um and Rebecca De Mornay's scene where she, falls and then they have to like the entire surgery, and it was so harrowing and so disturbing, and then the whole movie is just so disturbing. I mean, Solomon does add. I am really interested to see the new one now because
Mhm.
he was such a central figure, and a lot of my anxiety came from how mean they were to him and how this all shook out. And it was just like, oh my god. I mean, when they find Emma's underwear in his toolbox, I mean, what a horrifying allegation. Honestly, the only problem I had was like I didn't think it was handled with enough fervor in the movie.
Yeah.
It was like, was there a part of that? I don't know if that was on purpose because like a part of them was like, no, this has to be a misunderstanding, but we can't not do something, which I
Yeah.
would love to unpack with you guys as we go on. But yeah, so glad this whoever chose this one chose it. And what a ride. What a ride.
I am so happy. I'm gonna say that you liked it. I don't
I
want to
did.
put words in your mouth, but at least had an enjoyable time watching it and were
Yes,
into
I
it.
liked it a lot. Yes, yes.
Because
Mhm.
I never know, especially a movie like this that is very messy. And I feel
Mhm.
like I'm going to say could not be made now, even though they did just remake it. I haven't seen the remake yet because part of me was like, we'll probably just cover that at some point. And I
I'm
kind of
sure.
wanted to
Yeah, why
just
not?
keep it
Yeah, let's
fresh,
do it.
And
Yeah.
also, like, I have really fond memories of this movie too. Again, warts and all, like, there are some messy bits here. But it also, like, I'm giving it a little bit of grace for the time. And I remember movies like What's Eating Gilbert Grape too, like Ernie Hudson apparently
Yes.
did a lot of research into the character. He really took this role seriously. He did not want it to be a caricature. I think really the only issue is that he does not have a mental disability. It's
Honestly,
not.
they didn't go to places I was worried they would because it was 1992. I was waiting for
Yeah.
it to get bad. I mean, the fact
Yeah.
that they even throw in when we first meet him pretending not to be able to count, and then he's like, "I'm just joking. I have a measuring tape." Like
Yeah.
it was like they were immediately like, "Yeah, we're actually this." It was so woke for the
Yeah, I
time.
know. It's like
Yeah.
and that's the thing. I give it grace for the time, and I don't think it
Yes.
is actively offensive the way some other things were. I just
I
think
I
we
would
know better
agree.
now,
Well, yeah. And
Yeah.
ultimately, I mean, it just seems unnecessary because it could have just been a
Like a
man,
handyman.
Yeah.
either an
Yeah.
older man or a younger man. Like it could have just been a figure, and you could like no matter who you put in that role, it could have there could have been something implied
Mhm.
where just there was something that they were making some sort of judgments, which is
Yes.
ultimately what I think his character is doing. It's just like
Yes.
a reflection on their own sort of bias and
Yeah.
judgments and having to reckon with that a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I also love that they welcome him into their like after
Mhm.
that scare, and we're gonna talk about it, but like if I saw somebody walking around, like I got home today and there were construction people in my yard and I didn't know it. And it threw me a little bit. I think if I
Yeah.
saw anybody walking in my yard, it would startle me. But as soon as they figure out what's going on, they're totally cool. They welcome him
Mhm.
in. And it's only when they get this faux evidence that he's done something awful that they turn on him and then they welcome him back. So I think, it's a little bit clunky 90s, but it's also, I think, it could have been handled a lot worse. I was
But we've seen
expecting a
worse.
lot worse. Yes, we have seen. We've talked about worse. Yes, but I remember I was obsessed with this movie and Sleeping with the Enemy, which is another one that I want us to cover at some point because I
I've never
fucking
seen
love
that one
movie.
either. So
Okay, well, wait till we cover it. It's so good. I just like these were. I can't remember if this is rated R or not, and I'm worried if I open it,
I feel
it's
like
gonna.
it would be. Yeah.
I think so too.
It
Let's
has,
see.
like,
Sorry, it is
nudity.
rated R. Yes, and I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure Sleeping with the Enemy was rated R. But it's like there's a softness to this and Sleeping with the Enemy that, as a kid, I did not understand what was going on. Like I remember that doctor's appointment. I had no clue what was going on there.
Mhm.
Now I watch it and I'm like, oh fuck. And it's like almost more disturbing because it is so subtle, you know,
Yes.
it's not
Yes,
explicit,
absolutely.
it's not graphic,
Mhm.
you know. It's like when I was watching Steel Magnolias, and it wasn't until I was an adult that I realized what was happening with Shelby's character, you know, not our Shelby, but our
Don't
Julia
worry, I get it
Roberts
all the
Shelby.
time when people hear
Dude,
my name. Drink your
Shelby,
juice, Shelby.
drink your
Yeah.
juice, Shelby. I do
Mhm.
love that movie. I wonder, I could make an argument that we cover that one too. So,
We could,
but anyways,
yeah.
yeah,
We can do what we want.
fucking want, man.
Mhm.
Yeah. So, anyways, really excited to talk about this because I think it is a really interesting snapshot of like womanhood in the early 90s. You know, like there
Mhm.
is a lot going on here. There are a couple of different female characters, a couple of different archetypes, and I think we're really playing with those archetypes in an interesting way. And a lot of things have changed since then, but I think we
Mhm.
can look back and see where people our age formed a lot of our opinions about like what suburbia and family life and being a mother would be, you know.
Mhm.
Okay, well, let's go to our next category. Who is she?
I just wish we could all get along like we used to in middle school. I wish that I could bake a cake made out of rainbows and smiles and we'd all eat it, be happy.
She doesn't even go here.
Do you even go to this school?
So I love Rebecca De Mornay so much. She is my Wendy Torrance from Mick Garris's not the Stand. I was going to say the Stand from Mick Garris's The Shining, and Steven Weber is of course my Jack. And I can't remember which one of these I saw first, but I remember thinking she is so beautiful, you
She's
know,
so beautiful.
and she is just such a fun villain in this role too. So
I
she is-
recently, like when I was recovering from my hysterectomy this last summer, I rewatched. You know what? Recovering sometimes does weird things. Because like
it does,
the first,
yeah.
I watched Love Island, which is funny, and
Oh.
also I was like, I gotta rewatch The Shining miniseries. Like it's time.
That is
When
a
I
must.
was recovering from my surgery, I don't even remember what I remember. It was strange. I can't even remember what I watched, but I remember even in the moment being like, "This is weird."
I
But, like,
picked out the
need
most
this.
random things. I was
Yeah.
just like, it's time. I really
Yeah.
got to rewatch the Shining miniseries. Like this
I'm
is
missing an organ now, and it's
like this
time.
feels
Yeah.
this feels right. And
Yeah.
but I loved being able to see her in this because you know those two together. She plays some interesting mom characters, which
Yes, she
because
does.
she's so stunning
Mhm.
and like it's I just find it fascinating casting. I think is what
Yeah.
it is.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I want to talk about the way she's styled, but I think she can kind of go back and forth between like blonde knockout and like really down to earth girl next door kind of energy, you know. And I wish we saw her do more, you know, because I feel like she hasn't done anything in a while. And then we have Claire, who is Annabella Sciorra, Sciorra, and I really love her in this movie also. And then I'm counting Emma because I love that, like, lock in the door, you're not my mommy. And, like, I'm a grown ass woman and I don't know if I could have locked that door that fast, let alone even knew where that skeleton key was, you know? So, and she is Madeline Zima. Okay. And then our victims, Claire, Marlene, who is Julianne Moore, just
Yes.
icing on the cake. And then Solomon is definitely a victim here. He's Ernie Hudson. And then Michael, Matt McCoy. And I mean, he's fine. It cracks me up how he is immediately taken out by the shovel.
Oh my God!
You know?
Immediately.
And that fall
Useless.
though, like I believe it. It wasn't like
Oh, yeah.
he just kind
No,
of like
the fall. It was a
down the
good, like,
stairs.
yeah, it was a good fall because when he
Mhm.
smacks that pavement, it was like, oh, I felt that. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, just basement cement, just super
Ugh.
hard. And so,
Mhm.
yeah, makes sense.
Every time he like does that jump scare when he reaches out and grabs her, I always think of that moment in Hot Shots Part 2, which was another movie I watched over and over again, where he goes, "I can't walk. they've tied my shoelaces together. And then Charlie Sheen is like, damn, a knot. Anyways, that's
my legs are broken. You're gonna have to fight.
You're gonna have to
Momo,
defend us.
Momo.
That is very Hot Shots Part Deux humor. I think I've just transported myself back to the 90s. Which is not the worst thing in the world because the shit is bleak right now. Anyways, okay, so our motive, revenge, and we shall discuss, and that's my family, damn it. I love that they both get to say, it's my family.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then our weapons. I don't think I missed anything, but let me know. Earrings, breast milk, perfume, shredded proposal, plunger, Emma's underwear. Emma, she uses Emma as a weapon. Her sexuality. The rain in a white nightgown, A greenhouse, which has got to be one of the most creative kills I've ever seen, An empty inhaler, which again has scarred me for life. A shovel, a fire poker. And I want to give a shout out because she, I think weaponizes Night of the Living Dead or some kind of zombie movie that she lets Emma watch. And I was
she
like,
does.
Just
yes.
good parenting.
I agree. Yeah.
And, okay, what did you think when she confronts this bully?
Oh, my gosh. I was like, no, ma'am, no.
Yeah.
That is a child.
It's a
child. I understand how it fits into the movie and everything and, loved it for that. But also it's like, that is a young boy.
It's like 5 or 6 years old.
It gave a glimpse into how she would have been
that.
as a parent, too. You would have not. Oh.
Yeah.
No.
Oh.
No.
Now, I say this. Before we hit record, I was telling you about how I just almost cursed out some middle school boys the other night who were bugging the shit out of me. But I was also like, what if their parents are around? What if their parents sue me,
Well,
yeah.
Yeah, but you wouldn't have put your hands on
That's
somebody
true.
else's child.
I was just going to go up to him and be like, shut the fuck up. I'm trying to watch the concert. I would not have grabbed their arms. It's like she's almost lifting him off the ground.
Yeah. She yanks his arm up. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But because he's a mean little boy, too, part of me is like, she's a mom that doesn't take shit,
Yeah.
It's this weird hell yeah kind of moment too. But then you're also like, oh, the fact that no adults saw this because they're on school property, although I guess in the 90s we were just doing whatever.
It was the
fuck we
90s.
wanted. So who knows? Maybe that's why we have to be more vigilant now is because of people like Peyton,
She ruined it for everyone.
She did. Yeah, now we can't bully kids.
Yeah. I can't bully a kid. What's wrong with this society?
Ooh, okay, well, I want to talk about Peyton's styling. So I kind of mentioned it before, but there is a marked difference between her boardroom look, which is like this purple suit and her French twist, and then her nanny styling, which is very sweaters tied around her. So, Shelby, what does this styling tell us about her, and what do you think of this change?
I loved the styling in this movie. I feel like the costumer had told so many stories through everyone's styling. I mean, we've got Marlene with her sexy outfit. I actually, one of the few notes I wrote down was about the styling, and it wasn't necessarily Peyton, but it does have to do with her when she stains the dress.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, this is just a personal thing, but why doesn't this bitch have another dress other than this frumpy
I thought that
floral
too.
thing? I was like, you don't have one other sexy-ish dress, black,
That's
a
your
solid
backup?
color. It's two, and it's clearly, and again, I know this was all on purpose because everything looks so great in this movie. Great as in it fits into this world. And it's clearly the dress was too big for her too. It was not flattering in the least bit. And I know that's what we were going for, but it was still, it took me out of the movie for just half a second because I was like, this woman would have at least one more sexy dress.
To be fair, though, she's kind of postpartum. I think Peyton says at one point 3 months. So who, maybe
Which
she
is
does,
true.
but they don't fit right. And so it's well, I guess I'm wearing this moo-moo
I guess
thing.
Yeah. She
I know
does
she
at
does.
one point say that she was dealing with gaining weight after, being pregnant. But the movie is also a 90s thriller, so we've already seen her in her French cut underwear, and she looks incredible.
Oh, true. Good point.
Yeah.
She looks.
But she says
does
that
she not have like
after
a
we see that.
brooch or something
Yeah.
though?
Yeah.
You know, like or like a stain pen or something. You know,
Something. And I'm
But-
telling you, at least a solid color. I don't know. Anyway, that was just a gripe I had to
no,
make
I
about the styling.
I hear you.
But Peyton, like, when we see her in the beginning, and it's not even just what she's wearing, it's a well-tailored suit. It's like you said, the French twist. Her makeup is very heavy. It's like not just like her lips and eyes, but like you can see like she has a lot of powder foundation on, and she's got this entire, like, the way that they change up. Like, I was even stunned by Rebecca De Mornay, like the way she looks almost like a fully different person when we see her later. Because, you know, they've taken down the makeup, I mean, she may have like no makeup, if only just some concealer on to the clothes. And it's like the sinister way that this woman has clearly studied her own help, and she knows how to dress the part, because she doesn't dress like this. She's mimicking what she's seen, but in like an incredible way. And we do kind of like, I always questioned her, like her backstory of like, she had lived with her fake backstory of like, I lived with this nanny family and they're moving, so I have to find something else. And it's like, what was that? Like, is this from you? Because a woman of this caliber would have already been interviewing nannies, you know, she would have already been like, and it's like, did you also kind of single white? And this is just in my head, obviously, this is not on the screen, but it's like, did you kind of single white female like a couple of these nannies because you're a freak, you know? And you clearly like copied someone's style. But I loved her nanny style too. I mean, I loved a lot of the fashion in this movie, honestly. It was just understated. Like, as a nanny, though, she still wore pencil skirts and stockings. And I know that was kind of the look, but it was clearly like she was still trying to add in a bit of her old life, she couldn't kick the habit of like still being a little bit like, you know,
crazy,
put together. Yeah. Serving cunt, if you will, for the modern day. And like, she would always have her hair was very neat. And the only time we see her kind of disheveled is when she meets Marlene, and Marlene's husband, who I can't remember his name. He kind of doesn't matter.
his name is Stupid.
Stupid. Yeah. And she's doing this like, and it's almost, even that feels calculated in the way her hair is so beautifully messy, and she's wearing the sweater. She looks like a college kid almost. Like, to me, she looks like much younger. Not that Rebecca De Mornay was very old when she made this, but still, it's almost like she's trying to appear even younger, and she is clearly trying to appeal to the friends in some sort of way, like either look innocent to the other wife, which does not work because Julie, our girl Julie, she sees right through it.
No fool.
But husband, it works. Her husband, it works on him immediately.
Yep.
He's immediately in love. He's immediately like into her. And so I can't even remember what he says. It's gross though. Like, whatever.
It's like, maybe we should have kids.
Yes, that's what it was. Yes. And it's like,
really, dude?
She deserved better. Anyway. But yeah, I feel like her fashion and styling told such a story through the entire movie. And it was so beautifully done. I can't say enough about it, honestly. So I will stop saying that much about it so someone else can talk now.
Well, Rachel, I want to ask, because I've been watching the Real Housewives seasons where Erica is going through her divorce, and she's been laid low, and now I'm just at the end of season 13, so she's made her comeback and her Vegas residency. But were you also thinking about that? Because a lot of it is just, she looks like Rebecca De Mornay too. It's like this severe blonde too.
Oh no, I didn't clock that exactly, but that makes perfect sense. Well, because Peyton has a fall from grace in more ways than one. The fact that everything with happening with her baby aside, all of her assets are frozen. Like, she doesn't have access to all of these things. Nobody wants to buy this house. There's lawsuits involved. I'm sure there's an element of just the fact that she's associated with this person and everything that happened. And so like she's like kind of reinvented herself. And that's how I saw this change in styling, was like she's playing a role. But what I found fascinating was but what role is she playing? Because I'm sorry, not to be judgmental about nannies, but I don't think a pencil skirt is necessarily what
There
I
were a
think of
lot
when
of
I think of somebody who like has to look after kids. And then I was like, oh, she's not playing a nanny. She's playing their mom.
Yeah, she's playing like a waspy wife.
Yeah, like she's already like moved her, like her role is the mom, and which I also think is interesting, like with the sweatsuit and stuff when her friends are over, it's almost her way of being like, oh, you don't have to worry about me, because well, like Julianne Moore would say something, right?
Yeah.
Or like if she knew they were coming over, like, okay, I'm gonna dress down a little bit so that they don't stir up anything, like, hey, who is this woman living in your house, are you sure, that kind of thing. But the fact that Rebecca Mornay is just so beautiful, even she looks stunning in a sweatsuit.
I know.
So
Right.
it's fine. But I think that's why she kind of pulls that card a little bit. And yeah, she knows what she's doing. That's what I
Yeah.
love about this character of Peyton, is like everything is, whether she's conscious of it or not, like every decision is so calculated and manipulative. Even like her nightgown, it's like everything on paper reads as quote unquote kind of conservative dress, right?
Yeah.
But the way that she's styling it, it almost makes you like reflect on yourself a little bit and be like, oh wait, am I doing something wrong that I find this nightgown to be really appealing? And it's like, well, not really. She's not necessarily like wearing any undergarments. It's white. It's a little sheer and see-through, but at the same time, like it's perfectly acceptable sleepwear, even for a nanny in your house. And so you kind of have that moment even with Michael where it's like he's looking at her, but like his eyes are so wide.
They are. Oh my
Like,
God.
Well, and it's like he's trying to be like, I'm not doing anything inappropriate.
I'm just a man, but also
I'm just a man, but I'm not sexualizing you. And we're like, okay, you spilled some ice cubes. All right. Nope, I don't need anything from you.
Ice cubes.
Good night.
Did she put those ice cubes back in the freezer, by the way? Did she like put them?
She does. She picks them up off the ground and puts them back, and then she puts them back in the freezer.
I
Okay, 5-second rule does not count for ice.
I was like,
It's sticky.
I almost wondered if it was on purpose to show how he's so like, he's such a man that he wasn't at once like, did you just put dirty ice cubes back in the freezer? Like,
well, exactly.
Yeah.
And like, that's why I think those like little moments, and I think that's where this movie really got me, was there's so many of those moments. And like, it's just the way that that's telegraphed, even through the wardrobe choices, and and the way that she's styling herself. It is very just suburban perfection. And like, if anybody came to the house, nobody would assume like, oh, this person works here. And it's like, I'm, when I babysit my nieces and stuff, it's because I don't have kids myself, but it's like, you're all over the place. You're playing games.
oh yeah, I used to be a nanny. Oh my God, you
Yeah.
just dress comfortable in something that you don't care if it gets stained, and it
Yeah,
probably
because
already
you're going
is.
to get puked, peed, or pooped on.
Exactly.
And
It's
or
gonna
you need to
happen.
move quickly to stop a kid
Yes.
from
You have to
eating
be able
an
to
earring or
bend
something.
over and like sit on the floor and play with them and like all this. Yeah, exactly.
And like, that's never like, like Claire never says anything to her. Like, it never seems to be a problem. But I do think it's because she's already sort of just embodying this role. Like, no, I belong here not as the nanny, but as like the woman of the house, as the wife, as the mother, like as the homeowner. Like, this is who I am. So, they say dress for the job that you want.
I was thinking exactly that. And it reminds me of Fatal Attraction in a lot of ways, too, because we have this like striking blonde. Now, here it's very maternal and wash-bish and put together. But yeah, you're right. Like, if somebody knocked on the door, they're going to think Claire is the nanny.
I hadn't even
She's
thought about it in that
disheveled.
way. That's such a good observation.
Yeah, and I remember when I was student teaching and I was about to go on maternity leave and I was trying to find somebody to take my place, and this lady showed up with these stilettos and this skirt, and I was like, lady, I teach K through 4. Like, you are not going to survive here. And she didn't, because she didn't know what she was getting into. But yeah, it was just, I watch her, and even it's just as simple as a red lip in a lot of ways too. And I think, we're going to talk about Marlene, but I love the contrast between the two of them too, and where she kind of sits in the middle of the spectrum, because in so many ways, Peyton is trying to be the anti-Claire. She's trying to, one, poke holes in Claire. Every time somebody is like, or nobody is looking at her, she's scanning the room. She's like, what can I fuck up now? How can I fuck with this lady?
That's so funny. That's like where, especially the scene where they're at the greenhouse and like with the letter, the plans that she destroys. It's just so funny watching her like kind of cartoonishly like
Yeah.
what is it going to be? Yeah.
She's like on the prowl for
Yeah.
just constantly. And I love it. Yeah. Okay. Well, I was just going to say, let's get in a stroller and go for a walk, because I was also kind of, I don't know. I don't think this baby is 3 months old, which is fine. I don't need verisimilitude there. But I was like,
That was a big baby for 3 months, right? Again, I'm
that
not an
baby's probably about
expert,
6 months old, I
but
think, you know.
okay.
But it's fine. Like, we're fine. You know, the babies have
We're
to
fine.
do their jobs
We're
and
fine.
work and school. There's baby rules about baby actors or whatever. So anyways, but wouldn't it be nice if somebody in a nice little pencil skirt just walked you around the neighborhood all day and all you had to do was just go to sleep whenever you want? This is the other thing I used to like. It blew my mind about babies when they would get fussy because they were tired. I was like, you can go to sleep any fucking time you want to. Why
just
don't you?
sleep? Yeah.
I know. But they don't want to go to. It took me a while to realize that. But anyways, so we are going to get in a stroller and take a nap in our next category. Get in, loser. We're going killing.
This woman will soon cut, chop, break, and burn 5 men beyond recognition. And there isn't a jury in this country that will convict her.
Except we're not actually going to take a nap because we're in the middle of a podcast and we would never do that to you. So let's talk about Dr. Mott. Everybody, just content warning. We're about to talk about some sexual assault.
Buddy.
I had also forgotten about this conversation with Michael, and it was very startling to me because Claire says, what if I accused him and I was wrong? And then Michael says, if we don't report this, he's going to do the same thing to somebody else. And then we find out that 4 women come forward and they identify her on the news.
That was
the thing.
crazy.
I was like, what?
They're like, here she is, everybody.
Yeah, here's her
was-
face, here's her name.
That was insane. Like,
Mhm.
I know it's probably just a movie thing, but it
I
did
think
make me
so.
think, I'm like, wait, did they
Did we do
that?
this in the night?
I thought the same thing.
90s.
I couldn't tell if it was a movie thing or if it was like something we did at the time.
Yeah.
So
I also
Well-
like the fact that Peyton was the wife. I feel like there would have been a way around. I guess this was just like more like easier just to expedite the story a little bit. But it's like, well,
Yeah.
she was involved in all these lawsuits. You're telling me that she couldn't find out from a lawyer or something or a document that said like who filed the initial charge. But
Yeah.
kind
But
of
no,
kind
just
of
tell ya.
bananas.
Right there, you know, like she's watching it in the hospital and you can see like the wheels turning and she's like, okay, well, I'm gonna go get that bitch as soon as I get out of here, you know, better start pumping so I can
Better
do
start
my
pumping.
boob plans.
get this
Sorry for
going.
that visual, everyone.
That's what YouTube's for, baby.
Exactly. That's exactly what pumping is like, by the way, too. You know, it's just honk, 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 honk.
Honk, honk, honk.
Okay, so I don't really have a whole lot to say about this, but I did want to ask because I was not expecting Michael to be as immediately supportive as he was. I
Yeah,
thought this was going to be a longer discussion or a longer part of the movie. Shelby, why do you think Claire chooses to report this?
Honestly, because I think, not to give the man all the credit, but like I think he did encourage her. Like he was like, no, like do this. Like she did
Mhm.
kind of consult, you know, her partner, of course, but a man, and was like, what if I'm wrong? Like, I mean, we still deal with the what am I wrong? What if I'm wrong? What if this bitch is lying? What has she got? You
Mhm.
know, blah, blah, blah. It's like, I mean, I was just talking about, this is so random, but the Warrens on the Bloody Disgusting podcast and the allegations that came out about Ed Warren.
Uh-huh.
And like Xena hadn't heard about them. And I was like, and I even on for the video flashed like allegedly across the screen.
Yes.
But it,
So
like,
the ghosts don't come back. and
yeah,
haunt you.
as I was kind of looking it up to give her a little more information since she hadn't heard about it, it was just like so many people were like, well, it's real convenient, blah, blah. And it's like ignoring the fact that she was like 15 years old when it all initially happened, you know, and it was the 60s. So, you know, I feel like, so even today we're dealing with the like, what if this bitch is lying? So I was so shocked that for 1992, he was immediately like, you wouldn't be lying about this. Like, sorry, there's so many sirens and
Oh, you're
honking in my background. I don't know what the fuck's happening out there. It's not my business. Maybe
It's-
someone's nanny went crazy.
the
It's the
Warren
Warrens.
police.
It's the Warrens.
to get you.
They're coming. Yeah, they're coming to get me. So oh my God, I lost my train of thought. But in conclusion, no. But yeah, I think it was that she was like, she came to her partner who knows her best, who knows like she wouldn't lie about this. She doesn't seem like the type to be a sensational person, which is why I think we see her through the movie be so discombobulated. It's clearly showing like she is not a scattered person. She is not like this. She's a very kind person. I mean, she's the type of person who hired this company that sent Solomon. She works on greenhouses. You know, she seems like a real solid lady who's got her great head on her shoulders. So for her to come home, and the fact that this is her second pregnancy, it's not like her first rodeo of like just not being familiar with what goes on during an exam.
Yeah.
This was not normal. And what he was saying, and like, I love is such a weird thing to say, but the dialogue they gave Dr. Mott in the scene was so subtle and disgusting. Like, it really made my skin crawl. I can't even think of specific like quotes, because I just remember the whole time feeling so greasy, especially when going into this not really knowing what happened. I didn't know the twist or anything, and not knowing what was going. It's like it's slowly built, but it quickly built from the slow build of like,
Yeah.
wait, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, and oh my god. And it was that kind of thing that you could talk yourself out of. You can see why
Yeah.
4 other women didn't report him, because
Mhm.
they probably went home and their husbands were like, "That's stupid. You're
Yeah.
crazy," or you're always
You're
thinking this stuff.
overreacting.
You're
Or they didn't say anything.
overreacting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Or exactly, or didn't say anything, because it's like, well, he was supposed to be touching my breasts. He was supposed to be
Yeah.
giving me a breast exam. He was supposed to be, like there was, it's like, these types of things that you would second guess yourself about. I mean, even now, today, I think I would maybe even second guess myself and be like, wait a minute, what just
Yeah.
happened to me? Like the way she runs out of the whole building too, I feel like she also, once Michael says to her, no, this, yourself, like this is something that happened. It was like, you know, I can't let this happen to someone else.
Yeah.
I can't. And like him saying that to her, I think it was like, it's me. For one, it's one thing to happen to me. I can deal with it, but like, I can't let this happen to any other person. So, or any
Yeah.
other woman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rachel, what do you think?
Oh, this scene really, whew. Like
I know.
you're right, Shelby. Like it's so subtle, but I love there's a few things they do. Like I think this movie is actually really clever and really smart in a lot of like it's really careful decisions that it makes. The fact that she's like, oh, I didn't think you would have to do a pelvic exam after the second or in the second trimester or something. Something
Yeah.
along those lines where it's like she knows that like why are you
Yeah.
doing that? And then he like, oh, I do this with all my first time patients. So she's like, okay. But you can tell like she's already feeling uncomfortable. And then he gets the nurse to leave the room. The thing with the glove is so disgusting.
Yeah.
But I like how they show that to us. I don't think Claire can see that. Otherwise, I think that would be a deal breaker. Like, excuse me.
Yeah.
But I don't think she can see it. But it lets us know that, like,
This is
yes, like
this is bad.
he's doing something inappropriate here, which I liked that it doesn't put us in the position to be like, is she overreacting or something? No, like I like it's letting us know that like no, something inappropriate is happening here, intentional, and just the way he does that, but it really taps into this thing that I mean, like we all, I'm sure it's just like those social, not niceties necessarily, but like those awkward situations where you don't know if you want to say something in the moment or not. But I love how it shows her running out too, because it's like her gut's telling her this wasn't right. Like something's not right here. And I think she does ultimately choose to report it because she has a supportive partner who believes her, who validates her feelings and lets her know. He doesn't say it in so many words, but like, I'm going to support you during and after this as well. Like, and so that's going to make her feel more confident making this, because she's not wrong in saying like, what if I accused him and I was wrong? Because it is a serious accusation, and she's smart enough to know the ramifications of what it could do to him and his practice and his family. And does she want to be put under that scrutiny and have to talk about it all? So it's a valid concern, but he's letting her know like, no, like, you know what you felt and you have to say something. Or and not even like you have to say something, but just kind of urging her to be like, if you don't report it, it is going to happen to somebody else, and you're probably not the first. So, I think you should say something. Your gut is telling you, like, you know the answer already. The fact that she's having that conversation and like is willing to tell her husband, because I can imagine a lot of people talking themselves out of it. I'm sure I'm not the only one. I don't even want to think about it. It's like, especially in my younger days,
Oh,
as a
yeah.
teenager, as a young adult, how many times looking back now, I would be like, why did you talk yourself out of feeling that way? Like you weren't wrong. Like what you were feeling was completely valid. It's just if you're not in the right supportive atmosphere, or it can be really easy to be like, it's not worth it. But I think Michael ultimately is letting her know, like, no, it is worth it. And I'm here for you.
Yeah. Well, and I think what blows me away about this too is it feels so aspirational. Like it could just be that easy. Like she feels something is wrong. She goes home. She tells her partner. He supports her. They accuse the man. Authorities believe her. And, we know that 4 other women came forward, but like even that, like there's not a drawn out trial. There's not like she's not crucified in the media. Now, Peyton does come to get her, but that's a different situation. That's not people like I'm watching Unbelievable right now because we're covering it on Murder Made Fiction, which is about a woman who gets charged with a false or giving a false testimony or a false rape accusation. And it's spoiler, but it's really upsetting because it's not true. Like the cops talked her out of what happened to her, and it's fucking bullshit. And I also like, but like, sorry, I'm talking all over myself, but like, it could just be this easy. We could just believe women and then do something about it, and we could stop this from happening again,
Yeah.
And the thing that I like about it is not exactly what I mean, but it's not overly violent. It's not overly graphic. Like it reminds me a lot of Larry Nassar, the gymnastics coach.
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
Well, he knows his position. Like Dr. Mott knows his position as an authority figure in the medical field, as a new doctor to her, as a man, as a white man in the world, and knows that, like, I mean, clearly this is not his first time.
Yeah.
Because he's so smooth and he's so careful and he's so thoughtful. I say that in like,
No,
in a different way. He's
I know
not
what you mean.
thoughtful
Yes.
about
He
it.
knows how to
like,
do what he's doing,
Yes. He understands what he's doing is wrong. So he's careful with his actions and to play his cards right so that it is really sort of could be perceived as ambiguous.
It's plausible deniability. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't, that wasn't my intention, even though we know because he took his fucking glove off.
This situation he probably could have gotten out of if 4 other women hadn't come forward. I feel like that's why we see him see that particular statement and then kill himself, it's like, I can't get out of this one,
Yeah. 5 women. Well, and I also think I just had a pap smear recently, and like there were 3 women in the room. Like if you're listening and you're like unsure, I think it's illegal for a doctor to do that in the room alone with you. I think there has to be a nurse in the room when you do any kind of pelvic
I feel like now
exam.
thinking back, there's always another person in the room when I've done
and I think specifically for this reason, because that prevents this kind of abuse. Like there's a witness there, So if it's just you and your doctor in the room, say, hold on, can we wait till the nurse comes back in, or get the fuck out of there, or do what you need to do. Okay, well, let's talk about Peyton. She says to Claire in this greenhouse freak out. I love that there are a couple of different greenhouse crash outs in this movie. Like greenhouses get a lot of play here, and it just is nice. But she says about her husband, he was murdered. They never caught who did it, but I firmly believe what goes around comes around. Rachel, why does Peyton target Claire?
Oh, Peyton. Peyton targets Claire because she was the one who lit the fuse on this whole situation. I say lit the fuse for Peyton's life to fall apart.
Yes.
And, it's like I see Peyton's point of view. Like, yeah, ultimately, that is why Dr. Mott was under investigation. But he chose to take the action that he did. And yeah, like ultimately it was easier to blame Claire than a person who's no longer there, I think, too, because he removed himself from the equation. that allows, like, Peyton has nowhere to go with all of this, and she has a lot of it because obviously she wasn't even after everything that happened with her husband, she wasn't anticipating or planning on also losing her baby.
Yeah.
Because I do think this is probably a situation where if she hadn't lost her baby, maybe this whole thing wouldn't have happened. But it's just, one thing after another. It's a bunch of dominoes for Peyton in her life. And rather than go to therapy and work through some of those emotions, she has to point the finger at somebody and say, you're the one to blame.
Yeah.
And I do find it fascinating, though, to say, like, he was murdered, because I think that's really telling about where Peyton is and how she feels, that she sees Claire as responsible for her husband's death, when it's like, Peyton, no. like your husband was a bad man. That is not Claire's fault. She is not a girl's girl. Peyton is not a girl's girl.
No.
But Peyton also clearly has a lot of trauma, and who knows what Peyton experienced before that. I'm not trying to excuse the villain in this situation. I think it's just fair to say, like, clearly Dr. Mott was not a good man, and who knows how that affected Peyton in her day-to-day life. So I think she's just looking for somebody to blame ultimately, and wants her life back. I think once she realizes that she kind of, I'm sure she did her research and sees that's like she has a baby, because she even says how many times, like, I want my baby. I think really she was like, you took this away from me, so now I'm going to take it from you.
Yeah, and we know that her baby was a boy, and I think she could, like, leave Emma behind if Emma is really gonna, like, resist her a lot. I do think she really likes or wants the baby, and, we know that Dr. Mott is an OBGYN, so we don't necessarily know if the other 4 women were pregnant, so I think it's the symmetry
I
of
didn't even think about that. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought about that this time just because, like, I know about it now, but, like, a part of it's like Claire gets to live the life that she could have had. So it's like Claire has stolen this from her, even though we know that's not true. Because, Rachel, I think you're right. I think it's the fact that she can't yell at her husband, and again, I'm thinking of Erica, where her husband is essentially kind of going senile and, like, is in the stages of dementia. So it's like you can't talk to him.
Oh, I think it's hard. I
this.
mean, I think it's a valid comparison, because, like, this sounds so silly to, like, be talking about Erica Jane in this way, but like, when they've, like, asked her, like, are you going to go and visit him in prison? And she's like, what for? Like, he doesn't know who I am. There's not going to be closure.
Yeah.
So, like, why am I going to pretend or play that game? Like, ultimately, like, that's not going to make anything better. But she's self-aware enough to know that. And unfortunately, Peyton is not.
Well, and, she has gotten some therapy. And I think that's like Peyton's will, try to steal somebody else's family before going to therapy. Do you think that her name is male coded, especially in the 90s,
Peyton's?
Yeah. I just always
know.
think of Peyton Manning. That's the Peyton that comes to mind first for me.
I think of Peyton's Place. Wasn't that a show?
Oh, yeah. That is like
Yeah, I don't know.
Scandal, It was a book, too. I haven't read it, but, Well, Shelby, what do you think about Peyton?
What do I think about Peyton? I will say there was one part with her and Claire when she first meets Claire, when she first, like, kind of, I guess she isn't accosting her, but sort of, when she's just like, hey, I'm here to be your nanny, when she shows up in the front yard. But she, like,
it's
kind
very
of
The Omen,
I know.
It's like, the agency
Clearly-
sent me.
Clearly, Claire has not seen The Omen.
Oh,
Right.
Yeah,
Exactly.
right. There were a few times where I'm like, Claire, have you seen a movie? Marlene too. Have you seen a movie? But it is there, and I'm sure, I don't know if this was done on purpose or what. When Peyton tells Claire, like, I lost my husband and then I lost my baby, like, she tells her right away, I lost them. Claire's reaction to me wasn't, like, understanding enough for me. I don't know. I would have even been like, because she was just like, okay, well, yeah, let's like go inside and, like, whatever. And I'm like, Claire, be like, she didn't even say, like, oh, I'm so sorry. Like, that must have been so hard. She was just
Are
kind of
you
like,
getting
okay,
therapy?
cool. Like, I guess you're my nanny now. Like, it was like, okay, Claire, maybe we're a little bit, her whole thing is, like, she is a very positive person. It's like, well, maybe there's a little bit of toxic positivity here, Claire, not to, like, I'm just saying.
She's too trusting.
And I will say another thing against Claire, just because look, she should have gotten the earring fixed. That was going to be a problem.
Yes. Dude, that's part of the reason I stopped wearing dangly earrings and why I never change them anymore is because I was afraid that my kids were going to pull them out when they were babies because, like, it's a legit hazard.
I thought that when, because it's like, okay, yeah, clearly, because it was like the first thing Peyton does, but I was like, clearly Peyton did that, but also like, that was not out of the realm of possibility for happening, girl. That earring did keep falling out. She didn't pull it out of your ear. It did keep genuinely falling out. So anyway, those are my just 2 Claireisms that I had to get out of the way that I had to be like, look, not saying Peyton
anti-Claire rant.
Yeah, my little anti-Claire rant. I didn't know where else to put it, so I just feel like right here.
Yeah. No, I don't think Claire does herself any favors in part. Now, she is also postpartum. I think part of that is she's meant to be tired. But I also think because it was the 90s, she couldn't appear tired. She just has curly hair, and that is and looser clothes.
Like I said, when she's like, all this weight I've gained, it's like, girl, we just saw you 2 scenes ago in your underwear.
Like what? Wait. It's like in what Father of the Bride too, when they talk about the mother and the daughter when they're pregnant together and they're like saying their weights right before they give birth.
Oh
and
my God, I know.
Well, why don't I just jump off a bridge?
Yeah.
Right now,
that's your pregnant weight? Okay.
Exactly.
Well,
At 9 months. Oh, thanks. Thanks, Steve Martin.
Yeah.
I do think there's an element of just that idyllic suburban ness of this all that I think is really interestingly like translated through Claire. Just kind of this, oh, nothing's gonna happen to me. She leaves Peyton alone with her baby like minutes after they've met in the house.
Yes.
Like, oh, I'm gonna go downstairs real quick.
Like you can tell Solomon, hold on a minute,
Yeah, and just welcomes her into the house, is talking about these things, no real interview questions, clearly doesn't take references because I'm pretty sure she doesn't have any, these kind of things. And I think it's this idea where she's judging Peyton in a beneficial way to Peyton, where it's like, well, clearly this beautiful white young woman cannot be lying to me and is like, clearly she's unthreatening and safe because she sees some element of herself in there. And so I think it's like it's not an accident that Solomon's building a white picket fence, right?
Yes.
And so I think Claire is really kind of like a victim of her own privilege in some ways.
Well, and Solomon does ask at one point, is it to keep people out or keep people in?
Yeah,
and
she doesn't even have an answer for a sec. She's like, I don't know.
What are you talking? I just want a pretty fence. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, oh, you have never had to consider these kind of things.
Yeah.
And like, I guess I should say, like, I don't know, Annabella Sciorra's background and where her family is from, but I think in this situation it's like she's a wealthy person of privilege, this character, and just doesn't necessarily, like, she hasn't had to think about things in the same way, and because she can, like, Peyton's unthreatening in that similar way that she can relate to her, and so she just lets her guards down. And I think Peyton's story is sympathetic. That's what I think is so fascinating too. It's like, I do have empathy for this character, like, because how her story starts out, it's like, Jesus Christ, this poor woman.
Like, I do believe Peyton when she says she doesn't have anyone else, like she has no family. Like, I think that is part of her story that is absolutely true, because we get the movie would have shown us something, and she has no one. And I can't remember exactly why why she has no money. It's like the funds were wrapped up in the settlement.
The assets are frozen.
And I think people are going to sue them.
Yeah. And so it's like she has just absolutely nothing. So yeah, I feel for Peyton, which is I think what makes her such a great villain. Yeah. Because you are like, oh, girl, like, I get it. But also, like, you can't do that. You can't do that,
Yeah, this is not going to end well for you. And that's not how families work.
Exactly.
And that's,
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I'm just saying, I'm not victim blaming Claire. I want to be clear. Everything Peyton does, I just think it's really fascinating and very intentional, I guess. It's like written in the script, and these character dynamics about how Claire and Peyton interact, which opens the door for Peyton. I shouldn't have, like, not saying opens the door, but you know what I mean.
No, I know what you mean. I
Peyton knows this and is using that
she
to
doesn't,
her
and
benefit.
like Jen mentioned, she is postpartum, so I know you're like not as, I know that sometimes makes you a little like scatterbrained. That's not, I don't mean any offense to anyone postpartum. I just know that kind of happens. And like, she doesn't ask about like, oh, what was the family's name you just came from? What's their number?
Like, well, she wants the help and is like, you know what? You showed up on my door.
Do
like,
it.
yes,
Yeah.
I want to go work on my greenhouse and you're here to help me. I'm taking the help.
Yeah. And I mean, I think even the fact that she can afford a nanny and doesn't have a job is privilege, you know? And I don't think we're victim blaming at all. I think we're pointing out how Peyton plays into her biases, you know? And I want to talk about that when we talk about Solomon, because I think Solomon is a piece of this also and kind of serves as a counterpoint to Peyton in a lot of ways. Before we do that, let's pay some bills. I am also thinking we're going to have to cover the housemaid because as I'm watching this,
I thought about that.
It feels so like informed by this. Oh, it's fun. I would read the book first. The
okay, that's what I was
twist is more fun with the book.
Considering doing was reading the book first. Okay.
Yeah. I think in the book it'll fly by, you know. Not that the movie is not good, but I was glad that I got the twist through the book.
Okay. That is so good to know. I will do that.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's talk about Solomon. So I do think that it is intentional that he scares Claire in the yard. And Michael goes out and they figure out what's going on. Like, they get Solomon's references because Solomon, before they even hear him talk and they hear about his intellectual disability, they see that he is a big black man, you know, and he's wearing a hoodie also. And I think this is before, you know, we were really talking about that the way we are now. But I think there's coding here that this person is supposed to be unsafe. And she is on guard with him and she won't let him hold Joey too, which I don't necessarily have a problem with. But to see how careful she is with Solomon, and then she just lets Peyton,
like, here's strange lady, here's my baby. Yeah.
Exactly. And I think I don't necessarily think that's meant to be a knock on Claire or a fault on Claire in the movie. I think that's meant to kind of, especially in 1992, reflect our own biases, like the audience's biases. I think it's meant to be a twist that this blonde, white, waspy woman is evil, where Solomon is good, you know? So, Rachel, how do you feel about Solomon in this movie? And do you feel this kind of appearance of safety also?
Oh, no. I think that's extremely intentional. The fact, just how it opens our introduction to Solomon. Yeah, like you said, this large black man wearing a hood in their backyard, and her immediate reaction and stuff, and ours as well, because we don't know him either. He just rides up on this bike. Like, it's not like we saw him leaving the agency or anything, you know. That's our introduction. So I think it is very much to be a contrast to Peyton, and how easily she just like is not threatened by her at all. And it's like, well, why is that? And what I do like too is like we see Claire kind of have to confront that as well. And even Michael, like I think it's interesting that the movie even addresses that, and the fact that Claire has to kind of like, oh, okay. And they do, to their credit, like they're very quick to be like, our bad, so sorry, you know, like it's, I don't think that they're, like, I don't know, they acknowledge it, which I think is really nice. And I think that it's like, ooh, shouldn't have done that. So they check themselves pretty quickly. This is one of those things where it's like, it's dated. And it is interesting though, the whole disability issue here, because it does feel unnecessary in some ways, but maybe that was like, they didn't want him to just be black because they're like, well, that's, you know, we don't want it to be about that. So we're going to throw this in the mix as well.
That's
and it's
true.
like, I don't know. Like, I feel like that would be fair, but I'm not sure about like why they had to kind of like double down on those things.
Yeah, because we're visually playing with race. But even to the fact that Peyton is so blonde and blue-eyed and wearing white all the time, but we never say anything about it, you know? It's more about his intellectual disability, you know?
Yeah, but at the same time, I do love Solomon. I think he's just like a very sweet character, and he is also manipulated and threatened by Peyton. But I think it's also fascinating, like he's the only one who pretty much from the jump sees Peyton for who she is.
Yeah.
Like he sees right through her. And like even before Peyton makes it very clear to him, like he's like clocks her mischievous nature, and to put it lightly, from the moment one. And I think that's fascinating because it's I'm sure life hasn't necessarily been just like all roses and white picket fences for him for various reasons. So he's more aware of those kind of things. And also she has no respect for him either. So she doesn't feel the need to hide. And it just is like an extra layer of evilness, I think, to Peyton, that it's like, ooh, you're like really not nice to Solomon. And I don't like that either.
Well, and if there was ever any doubt about, because at this point, you know, maybe she's trying to turn over a new leaf if you haven't seen this before. But when she stares Solomon down for that tiny little green smudge, so you're like, oh, fuck, no, you're evil.
Ooh, that was her eyes were so chilling. Like, she was so fast. This role, she was so good in this role. Like,
right?
Yeah. And like, I will say, like, Claire is really, I don't know, again, not a parent, but she's really quick to throw Solomon under the bus. And like, to be fair, like, it's a valid, like, you can see just like her stomach drop, because it's like she doesn't want to believe this thing about finding the underwear in his cart toolbox. But at the same time, it just feels like they immediately they don't, there's no conversation. I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure if that would, I don't know how I feel. I guess it's probably the fact that it's like Ernie Hudson and we know him, but if it
right,
like,
and we know that it's not
shoes.
true. Like, there's never any mystery about it. Too. And I also think this is something I was thinking about on this watch for the first time. It's like it probably triggers her own shit, you know, of like being through this before. You know? So she's just like,
I guess my main point is she's so quick to take action when it came there, but I do think that there has been multiple things with Peyton leading up to everything that happens, and she's not as quick to make those decisive decisions with Peyton as she is with Solomon, I guess. And obviously anything to do with your child is very different, but I still think it's to show that it's like, oh, you are treating him different than you are treating this woman who is equally like a threat. Not equally a threat, because Solomon's not a threat, but she thinks that he might be. But you know what I mean.
Well, and we talked about her trusting her gut with Dr. Mott, too. And she immediately knows something is wrong. And then we see her have this conversation with Michael where she's like, I don't know, sometimes I like Peyton and sometimes I don't. And I just don't know if I want her to go on vacation. It's like her gut is telling her something is wrong here. But because Peyton appears to be somebody she should trust, she's talking herself into trusting her. And it's just interesting considering what we see her go through with Dr. Mott. And I wonder if there's like levels of trauma there too, where she's like, I did this once and I don't know if I can go through it again.
Unlike with Dr. Mott, Michael is not willing to immediately be like, very supportive.
That's
He's like,
true.
why? Peyton's great.
She's fine.
You know? Even, which bothered me because I know he did not end up having an affair with her, but it's like, she like fully tried to fuck you, Michael. And now you're still like, she's great. I don't know what the problem is. Like, I don't. Okay, you lost so many
Michael.
points.
He's good in some way. Like, he's by far not the worst husband we've ever seen or talked about, but he's also just kind of there, you know. So, well, Shelby, what do you think about Solomon?
Yeah, I loved the character. Again, it's aged, you know, but I did find the character very endearing. I was very immediately, honestly, when he came on screen, I think I might have even said it out loud to myself because I live alone, but I was like, oh, they're going to be so mean to him. Something very bad is going to happen to him. I was actually afraid she was going to kill him.
Me too.
So,
me too. I was like, I swear to God, if they kill Solomon, I riot.
I was like,
we riot.
Yes. So I was glad he didn't die. But yeah, like like I said earlier, when they find the underwear in the toolbox, they don't react in a way that means they believe he did anything, because if they had, they would have gone to the police. He wouldn't still be with this. Like, he was then going to be working at the school. Remember, they tell Emma, like, if you see him at school, will you, like, and she's like, why would I be scared of Solomon? Like, because they're like, oh, don't be scared. And so even they're like, there's part of them that knows nothing happened, but it's like they had to do something almost because Peyton had witnessed this. Like, I wonder if Peyton had been there. I mean, obviously none of this would have happened if Peyton hadn't been there, but if it was like almost a show for their nanny of like, well, we have to do something, because they didn't ask any questions, but they also didn't press any charges, you know, they didn't do much of anything. And so it felt like another version of that, like kind of yuppie, like, we've just got to make a show of something. And I feel like the scene where after he sees Peyton breastfeeding Joey, and she confronts him and she uses the R word a couple times, in a way that is so interesting because it's kind of like, I don't know, there's been like a resurgence of people saying like people using it a lot more lately because it kind of
Yep.
went away for a while. It came back. In the early aughts, it was just used as kind of an insult. It wasn't used in like the medical way. And so for this being 1992 and it being used in a derogatory way that we as the audience are supposed to see as derogatory, I also thought was pretty interesting and forward thinking of this movie, I have to say. And
Yeah.
because she's the only one in this movie who uses it. She only uses it when it's the two of them. And like you guys were saying, like he saw through her bullshit immediately because even during this dressing down from her and these accusations of like she's trying to get him to admit she sees he was looking at her sexually, and we are even for like half a second maybe supposed to think that when he's looking through the window. I think like the movie thought we might feel that way, but we've seen too many movies so and he literally keeps saying like they're my friends, like
Yeah.
you can't get to me, lady.
I
Like, they're
won't
my
let you hurt them.
friends.
They're my friends. It's
Yeah.
so sweet.
Oh my
Yeah.
God, I know. I was just like, that's when I was like, no, they're going to kill him. Oh my God, they're going to kill him.
I know.
But he, even in those moments, it's like, no, he is a fully pure of heart person and he sees through what she's doing. And I think it was you, Rachel, who mentioned earlier, like, we don't know what he's got. Like, he's clearly not had an easy life for so many reasons. And so it's like, he's had these types of interactions before, maybe not this exact one, but these accusations, maybe these, people being incredibly cruel to him. So what an interesting type of character to use as the catalyst to see through her, because it's, who else could in this situation, in this particular situation, in this particular timeline in 1992 in suburbia, and I really love the character. Now I really want us to cover the new one because I can see now why on Reddit, why everybody was like, how did they leave this character out?
How can
Because I'm like, what did they had to have put something or someone in his place because there's so many things. I mean, the very end, which we'll talk about, but like the very end, what happens and like who's there? Solomon saves the day, which I loved.
Yeah.
And I know it was a whole beautifully beautiful, if not on the nose bow to tie everything up of like, see, you shouldn't judge a book by its cover, everybody.
Exactly.
Good night.
And maybe we can trust him to hold the baby too.
Maybe
like,
he can hold the
it's so
baby.
cliche, but like just when she's like, I need you to do something. I
It
trust you.
It does end so abruptly. They're like, he got to hold the baby. Goodbye, everybody. Like
that's
was
it.
Like,
it did, yeah.
And he's so
when the
sweet with the
credits
baby
came,
too.
He is. When the credits came up, though, I was like, oh, okay, goodbye,
it's
family.
over.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah.
Well, and I love that he doesn't become like a superhero too. Like all he's really doing is trying to help them get out of the house. He doesn't like sneak in and save the day. Like there is one moment where he stops her hand just because he's there and he's bigger than her, but he's the one that holds the baby too.
Yeah.
He's not the one that's doing all the fighting. And I think this movie really, for as dated as it feels sometimes, it resists making him like a magical Negro character.
Yes.
And it resists making him a sacrificial character too.
Yes.
Yeah, because I think there's part of me, like I'm thinking about like The Legend of Bagger Vance, which I have not seen. Bagger Vance, I think,
Bagger
the
Vance,
golf
yes.
movie. But just this concept of like a sacrificial Negro where the character doesn't have anything going on outside of this white family that they exist to serve. And that's not exactly what's happening here. I think we learned that he lives at the Better Day Society house, which to me reads kind of like a version of foster care too. So it's like he's kind of looking for a family too, and he benefits from this relationship a lot as well. It always cracks me up when he's like, I'm walking up to the door, I'm coming in the door now. Because it's not a bitchy thing he's saying. He's just like, I startled you before. I don't want to startle you again. You know, it's actually kind of sweet, you know.
And they said they're like, he's going back to work, that the society, like the Better Day place, they're putting back to work. So you might see him around. So it's like, okay, he comes back not because he has to, but because he wants to. Oh, okay, Rambo.
Rambo has a lot to say.
But because, he does care about that. And he knows that something's going on. And he's like, just keeping an eye on them. He's being respectful, but keeping an eye on them.
Yeah.
Well, and they keep finding stuff for him to do too. So like after he's made this fence, they're like, well, I guess he's going to paint the house. And then Emma is like, what are we going to do then? And like, well, we'll figure out something. Like he becomes a part of their family too. And it's not because he's leaving his own life behind. It's because they're joining, they're meeting each other. Okay, well, let's talk about Marlene because, man, I love Julianne Moore so much. And this character is so interesting. I rewrote this question so many times because I want to talk about how she is presented. And it's nuanced for 92. So she says these days a woman can feel like a failure if she doesn't bring in 50,000 a year, which I was like, oh,
1992.
when she's talking about selling those houses for 3 and some change, I was like, I bet that's $300,000.
You're right. I
Not
read
3
million, but
million.
I bet you're right. Oh my
It was
God.
probably 300,000. Yeah, in 92. But then she also says, and still make time for blowjobs and homemade lasagna. And I'm like, Margot. And she's a recreational smoker too.
Love
And when
that.
she's walking through her office, she's like, you got a Harvard degree, figure something out. Like, it's so, I just love it. Okay. Shelby, is Marlene a bitch? And do we mind?
Yes and no in that order. I think she is, and I think I don't care.
Yeah.
Because okay, going back to sorry to bring it up again, the frumpy dress.
Oh,
When
yes. Uh-huh.
Claire comes out of that room, Marlene is like, you can tell she's like, "What the fuck are you wearing, girl?"
Yeah. But then
Like,
she's like, you look
yeah,
beautiful.
yeah,
Mhm.
exactly. She's a good friend because a good friend
Yes.
would see that dress. I would see that dress and be like, what is this? But you look great. It's almost
Yeah.
like you could see her brain working. She just had a baby.
Yeah.
She just had, okay, you look amazing, girl. Oh my
Mhm.
God. And like,
Yep.
and she seems like she would be an intimidating friend to have to someone like Claire because she, they haven't had children, but she has this career. She is like a ball buster, but she can also hang with the boys, but she's kind of a little bit of a manic pixie dream girl in a way, not quite
Yeah.
because she's got a career. Manic pixie
The
dream girls
manic
can't
pixie
have jobs.
dream real estate agent.
Exactly. She's just like, and she smokes and she's got some like masculine qualities to her. She was also Claire's husband's first girlfriend, which we learn when we're watching the zombie movie. Just some, that would have been a cute moment if it wasn't for Peyton being psychotic.
Yeah.
It's like, yes, because kids do spill the tea on everything. Kids will
Yeah,
tell
they
all
sure
your
do.
business.
You
Like
gotta be
kids
careful.
love that. And I did think not to hand it to her, but I did think that was one of my favorite Peyton moves was when she pretended that she hadn't been told that. She just caught a vibe between them. Like I was like,
Mhm.
girl, you're horrible, but that was a good sinister move to pretend like, oh yeah, oh no, I just kind of noticed that they have a vibe or what she didn't say vibe,
Yeah.
whatever they said in the 90s. But I loved that. And I don't know, Marlene is just one of those I do like her death in that is the way a character like that would die. She just kind of rushed into things. She was
Mhm.
given things. She was very demanding and she didn't think twice about basically laying out why she was there to Peyton, like which was
Mhm.
stupid, but
Yeah.
I think it was very of that character because she is a powerful woman and it's like even if I tell you why I'm here, like you're fucked, bitch.
Yeah.
By the way, her death, that greenhouse scene I read in the original script that Amanda Silver wrote, the writer's name was Amanda Silver, who has gone on to write a bajillion things, by the way. Oh my God. She wrote a bunch of
Ooh.
the Planet of the Apes movies. She's written a ton of shit. Like,
Interesting.
she's like my hero and she's beautiful. If you look her up, she's like gorgeous. I'm like, who? I didn't know I
Aw.
didn't know you were my hero, but you are now. If she's a
Yeah.
bad person, by the way, in Hollywood, please, I don't know anything about her other than she
Yeah.
did all this. You never know with these Hollywood people.
That's
But
true.
but I just like kind of glazed over her IMDb and I was like, "Oh my god, lady." But she originally wrote that it was Emma that went into the greenhouse, but she
Oh.
survives. So,
Oh,
I
wow.
was like, this and I thought that cuz I had accidentally read that fact before Marlene, so I did get a spoiler, but I was like, "No, someone needed to die." And Marlene
Yeah.
was the person to die. Like no one
Mhm.
else in this movie could have died while keeping the sympathy of the audience. And but we needed someone we cared about. And like Marlene, they made her just enough of a bitch to be kind of the sacrificial lamb, but we also like her. Like she's not a
Yeah.
bitch in that we don't like her. Like I want her to be my friend and
Yeah.
I want to watch her boss around her underlings and I want to I love her.
Mhm.
And everything from her lighter being in Michael's jacket and them smoking together, like just kind of stupid little things. Which I mean, she was the reason for the cringiest best part of the movie, which was the
Yeah.
surprise party.
That's
Like,
true.
I mean,
Yeah.
I will never forget that scene. That is gonna that's a number. That's going on the Rolodex in my head of scenes,
Nightmare fuel.
of
Yeah.
nightmare fuel scenes. Yeah.
Surprise! Yeah. Yeah, and I think if we compare her to Peyton and if we compare her to Claire, it's like she and Claire are both overconfident in different ways because
Yes.
they don't see Peyton as a big enough threat, and that's
Mhm.
how they're both undone. But then she also, if we compare her to Peyton, Shelby, I keep thinking about what you said in that Switchblade Sisters episode, which I wasn't even on, but as I was editing it, I was just thinking about men-centered women, male-centered
Mhm.
women, which is something that's been kind of lurking in the back of my brain since I was one. And then I was like, oh, that's not good. That doesn't improve my life at all. But Peyton does not have it. Like, she does not get along with women unless she's manipulating them. And Marlene is a bitch in a lot of ways, but she is a good friend.
She
She
is.
really
Yes.
cares. And even when like all the shit goes down, like she gets over the party thing. She even says it's not about the party, it's about
Mhm.
something else. Like, she lets it go when she needs to.
Yeah. Even
Rachel,
in
what do
the
you think, Paul?
party, when she leaves, it almost seems like I think I should leave, but she wasn't
Yeah. She's just like, I don't quite know what to
she
do,
didn't
but I
seem
think
like
I'm
mad
just
myself
gonna
enough.
out.
hurt.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
I
She
should
doesn't
probably
make
not
a
leave.
big scene,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And she doesn't get mad either,
Yeah.
So, Rachel, what do you think?
Well, first off, I have to ask how you feel about seeing Marlene and a microfiche scene.
Yes, I do love the microfiche
microfiche,
scene.
that's right.
On the
Yes.
wind chimes, like, okay, also wind chimes are not obscure.
They're
It's
not. That I
like, I've
did
got wind chimes out there.
I was
I
weirded
know,
out
I
by
have some
that too. I
outside
was
too.
like,
Yeah.
the wind chimes, Marlene?
Are they
That's
But
what's
it's the
evil?
going on?
exact same one, I think, is why, like,
Mhm.
because she notices at their house and is like,
She's
oh,
better
but yeah, I like
detective
how
than
she
me.
brings
I
out
would
the
not have clocked that.
magnifying glass.
And it's the evil coded house too. It's very
It is an evil ass looking house. Yeah.
I'm
it's
sorry,
like-
but I would love that house.
Oh, I would too,
Look,
especially
I would
like,
buy a
oh my God, all the
heartbeat.
windows in that nursery. But it reminds me of Edward Scissorhands, of just like the evil house at the end of the street, or the people under the stairs.
Yeah.
And it also reminds me a lot of the Sleeping with the Enemy house, except that's like on a big beach. It's like this modern house is code for evil.
Yeah. I think she is. It's funny because it's like, yes, she's a bitch, but in like a yes, bitch kind of way.
Yeah.
It's
She's
like
a
an endearing
boss
way.
bitch, yeah.
She's a
Mhm.
boss bitch. And I love how it shows that she's like, she just has this confidence and how she like has to move around the world. And I think you're right. I think it's like she's not threatened by Peyton. And I think that was her mistake. And that's, why she tells her, like, no, like, I know who you are. Where is she? I'm going to find her. And doesn't necessarily fully understand just how far Peyton's willing to go or like what her actual motive is. Like,
she was
which
looking
is
at her more
interesting
like
'cause
a
it's
scam artist than a threat.
Yeah. And it's like, what do you think Peyton's trying to do?
Yeah.
Like, just get to know you and like fuck you over somehow or sleep with her husband? Like,
Yeah.
I don't
that
think
probably is what she thinks,
Yeah,
'cause-
I'm not sure that Marlene actually thinks Peyton's going to like try to kill her and steal her baby and take over her life. Like, to that extent, maybe she does, but no, I don't mind it at all. I find her to be an awesome character, and I love how she's willing to. She knows that like Claire's upset with her, and she has every right to be upset with Claire, to be like, dude, why, like, you think that little of me? Like, I would do something like that to you, but I don't know if anybody's following all the summer house drama. You never.
I
never
don't
really
even
know
know
with your
yet,
friends.
but I know it's it's got Vanderpump Rules vibes. So
Yeah. And I like their relationship, and I think it's kind of interesting too, because the fact that like Marlene came to this friendship through Michael,
Yeah.
and then became friends with Claire.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm happy to see Julianne Moore in anything.
I am
Honestly.
too.
Happy to see her in anything. There we go.
Yeah.
Words.
Yeah, she's just so much fun, and I just like this. She is very stereotypical 90s like go-getter, like
Business lady. Yeah.
exactly. Like, it reminds me of, she's like the kind of the original version of In American Beauty, where she's like, I will sell this house today. I will. She's like her on the upswing,
I don't find her to be like so offensively stereotypical though, like, oh, this woman, childless woman who doesn't want to have kids and would rather do all this. Like, I don't find her to be a bad embodiment of that. Like, we see she has like a marriage, like she's still got like, I don't know, she doesn't seem to be completely defined by that trope, which I really like. Like, there's still enough character there, and it's probably just honestly because Julianne Moore is amazing, but that we still like her, and like she's not defined by the fact that like, oh, I'm a career-driven childless woman.
Surprise party for her friend, you know, like stuff like that. Yeah.
Well, and I like you said, I love that she met Claire through Michael, through her husband too, but they're never catty with each other. There's never like this territoriality, you know. And it's funny like that Claire thinks that Marlene is the one that's trying to sleep with her husband when it's like Peyton's right here. She's trying to sleep with your husband.
I guess that's such a good point. Like the villain is not Marlene, the childless career-driven woman. The villain is Peyton, who's like dying for a family, and like this movie I feel like is actually so much smarter than I ever imagined, to be honest.
And I wonder if part of that is a female screenwriter. You know, it's like these women are more than just archetypes. And while we are playing with archetypes, that's not all they are, you know. Okay, well, let's talk about these good archetypes, and some of them are a little bit bad, but they're fun bad too. It's like Peyton is very bad, but it's hard to hate her because she's so much fun, you know? And I don't know, I guess it's good for me. So let's talk about that in our next category, good for her.
Claiming she could take it no more, the young mother released the emergency brake, allowing her car to roll backwards into the nearby lake.
Good for her.
And yes, I love Peyton, but I also know that murder is bad. And it's funny, while we were talking about how she is so overconfident and she's like, I'm going to tell the bad guy that I'm onto him and hand him a knife to kill me. I was thinking, like, have we just watched too many slashers? You know, because there's no body count yet. Like, there really hasn't been any real or noticeable harm that's not gaslighting yet. So it would, like, I don't know. I like to think I wouldn't jump straight to murder me in a greenhouse. That's why Peyton is so diabolical, you know?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's talk about this. The hand that rocks the cradle is the hand that rules the world. So Marlene says, you never let an attractive woman take a power position in your home. I have remembered that phrase for most of my life. Not that I'm like worried about that, but it's kind of lived in the back of my head. I also think that was part of, like, it was in the trailer too. It's kind of like the tagline. But then Peyton says, when your husband makes love to you, it's my face he sees. When your baby's hungry, it's my breast that feeds him. Look at you. When push comes to shove, you can't even breathe. And Rachel, I had to think of Homelander saying, what did he say? When you pray, is it Jesus? It's not Jesus, it's me you're thinking of, or something like that. It's apologies to listeners who don't watch The Boys, but y'all should watch The Boys.
We're in the boys zone.
We are fully boys filled. Okay, so I want to ask, Rachel, what do you think this movie is saying about women and mothers?
It's interesting. I don't fully know, because there's like part of me that doesn't like this idea, like, never let an attractive woman take a position in your, like, I don't
Marlene's an attractive woman.
Yeah. Marlene's attractive. Claire's attractive. I don't like that pitting women against each other. And like, it's one of those things I have complicated feelings about, because time and time again, we've seen, even in real life, celebrities, Schwarzenegger, Ben Affleck, Jude Law, like, how many times has those things happen? So it's like these stereotypes sometimes develop out of the news. And it's like, okay, you can understand.
Ethan Hawke
like,
still married to his? Like,
yes, exactly. Like it goes really deep. And so it's like, I can understand that. But I think that Marlene is such an important part in that narrative, because she kind of counters that a little bit, because they're not pitted against each other. So that's like one of those layers of subtlety that I think is really important. What I think it says about mothers and just women in general is like, it's fucking tough, man.
Yeah.
like honestly, I feel like there's so many things that it's like, how the hell are you supposed to like deal with all this and that? Because I like how we can have sympathy for Claire, and like, well, you can't blame her for wanting to do something outside of her house and it's not demonized, I feel like. And
Yeah.
I think that's like her husband is like, the fact that he's supporting her and like the fact that this character is never criticized for wanting something more outside of just her kids and her family and being a mom. And, even though it's just like, well, I'm just going to build it in my yard, but it's still
Yeah.
something, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I like that. And just how her assault that happens, like there's just so many elements of this that just it's like, man, this sucks, like this is really hard, and you can understand why she would want help. And even Peyton, like, she's bad, she's real bad. Peyton's no good, Peyton's got
Mm-hmm.
problems, but the how they set her up, there's an
Yeah.
element of sympathy that we can see how this was all sparked within her. And so
Yeah.
I like that there's like some nuance there to be like, bad shit happens to a lot of people and a lot of women, and it's not demonizing them, which I think,
Yeah.
I guess, is ultimately where I land on it, where it's like there's a lot of bad things out there, but it doesn't fully blame anybody.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously Peyton more than anybody, but
Yeah.
yeah, geez.
Yeah, but we do understand, like, she loses her entire life, and I think it is horrific when we see her lose the baby, especially the way it happens because she can see like, she's on the table, she can see the baby, and she sees the nurse be like, "We lost him," and it's like, "Dude," I just wrote about Prometheus and the C-section scene there too, so it's
Oh
just,
yeah.
like, this really
Oh, yeah.
traumatic births are on my mind right now, and I can't imagine what that would do to you, especially when it's not none of this is your fault, you know?
I think if
Yeah.
anything, I feel like this movie is saying more about like pretty privilege
Oh,
and
uh-huh.
just kind of like these suburban niceties and those kind of things. So if anything, I feel like it's not necessarily focusing so much on women and mothers specifically. It is for sure, but it's also just like maybe like check some of your judgments and don't just like
Yeah.
immediately let strangers alone with your baby, regardless of who they are and how they present themselves.
I think
Mhm.
that's mainly what I come away from it with because as I was writing this question, I was like, I don't know. And I've seen this movie many, many times.
Yeah.
Like I've lived with this concept. And I think what it really is saying is just it's more complicated. You know, it's like nobody is all good,
Yeah.
nobody is all bad, nobody is a completely perfect mother, nobody is a bad mother. It's just and nobody is a bad woman for not like I love how Marlene complicates all of this, you know.
Mhm.
And
I
it's like we got a spectrum, you know.
And there's like the this kind of subtle things, like just the judgments that people have against mother. Like I felt so bad for Claire when she was talking to Michael just about like he's not nursing. Like I
Yeah.
don't
Mhm.
understand. And like I can't
Mhm.
like I'm not a mom, so I can't imagine, but just the pressure on like, am I doing this right? What am I doing wrong? Like the doctor's
Yeah.
telling me it's fine, but I feel like it should be this and I feel like it should be that. And just the layers of being a mom, I think it just really nicely, delicately handles a lot of those subtleties in a way that's important, but doesn't, it's not like the movie is focusing on that. They're just kind of these lines that are thrown out that it's like, God, being a mom must be really hard, Jen. And
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
doing amazing.
Well, thank you. It is
You
not easy,
are.
and today has been a hard kid day, but everything's
Oh,
fine. But, and I feel a little bit bad that I kind of exploded with the breastfeeding thing because it's different for everybody, and it is really hard when it's not working. I went through that, and, like, I didn't even nurse my 2nd kid, I had to pump because I just, like, I could not handle the uncertainty of that. I needed to have control over something. And I like that she's like, "Something's wrong. Something is not right
Mhm.
here or not usual." And one thing Corey told me, because I used to get a lot of anxiety over like doctor's appointments and dental appointments for the kids. And he, especially when one of my kids was dealing with autism for a long time and we didn't know it and we didn't understand what was going on. And he was like, no one loves our kids more than we do. And we're going to listen to experts and we're going to believe scientific research, but also we know our kids, and we know our family. And I think that is what she's saying in this moment. She's like, something's wrong here, and that's her
Mhm.
gut saying, that maybe the breastfeeding thing is kind of a tip, it's not the
Yeah.
whole picture, but it's just like there's something destabilizing my family here. And
yeah.
and she's right. That's the thing, Well, Shelby, what do you think about women and mothers in this movie?
Yeah, I think kind of like Rachel said, we're I feel like, yes, it's obviously very much about women and mothers, but it was more about the breakdown of this woman and how no blame was ever placed on the men in her life. I mean,
Mm,
she wasn't even in love with Michael. It's not like, which I found
No.
was one tidbit I found very interesting about this movie that wasn't, I was surprised. I thought it was going to go the other way where like she truly fell in love with like she did fall in love with the whole picture, but he was
Mhm.
kind of like take it or leave it. Like she tried for a second, like, okay, I can have the whole picture. But then when he
Mhm.
wasn't into it, she was kind of like, all right, I'll just take your fucking baby then and run off with
yeah.
just the baby. Like I
Mhm.
tried, like I'm not really that into you. Like she never for a second really considered that her husband was a monster. I mean, maybe she did, but it was like the blame was all on Claire for blowing up her life, not on her husband for blowing up their lives.
Yeah.
And, there could have been a world where she went around and said, I'm so sorry this happened. I am the wife. I lost my baby. But he's not here to answer for it. I don't want to answer for it. Like, just like, hey,
Yeah.
I'm so sorry this happened. And I was in some way attached to this story. There was that one, it could have gone that way. Could have gotten all your assets unfrozen if you were just a little nicer to all these ladies. I don't know. Um,
Yeah.
but instead, I think it's more of the human psyche and what happens when we're pushed to the breaking point. And on the other hand, why we shouldn't judge people by what they look like or where they come
Mhm.
from or where we perceive they come from, and more about actually looking at people because of their who they are and their character, and not just like the whole thing we've talked about this for the whole movie or the whole episode about the whole movie. She was kind of like she knew something was going on with Peyton. She knew, like,
Mhm.
I know she blamed a lot of it on herself, like even the stain. She saw there was
Yeah.
no stain, but she immediately was like, there must have been lotion on my hands. Like,
Yeah.
it's like,
Mhm.
duh, uh, I get it, but also like, girl, there's some stuff that's happening that it's just like, it's clearly something going on. But she was,
Mhm.
again, we've already gone over it, but they were so quick to fire Solomon. They were so quick in the beginning when Solomon was knocking on the door, which did drive me crazy. I didn't know where they were going with it, but I was like, someone is knocking on your door.
Yeah.
Can you answer it?
Because they keep seeing Gilbert and fucking Sullivan, which was such a 90s thing too,
Oh
you
boy.
know?
I was
I did
wondering
not
about
care
that. I
for
was like,
that.
what is this? I was like,
Well, the only reason I know is one because of the West Wing and two because of the Cape Fear episode of The Simpsons, where that's how Bart saves himself from Sideshow Bob, which was also in the 90s.
oh
So,
my
yeah.
god. But yeah, so I think that it does have something to say, and like we do have the three different archetypes of women that you do get in movies.
Mhm.
The Madonna, the whore, and then the Marlene, which is
Yeah.
the
Uh-huh.
three.
Yeah,
And
who kind of goes between the two, you
yeah, kind of
know?
goes between the two, but then in certain parts, Peyton kind of goes between the two, which is interesting. They kind of both,
Yeah.
Marlene and Peyton, kind of switch places in these weird little, you know, again, archetypes that you see in movies of women. And
Mhm.
but it's an interesting way to do it in this time where we were still like they don't fall into these tropes for the whole movie. The movie is like, haha, you thought they were going to be this way, but they're not. Haha.
Yeah.
And which is again, knowing this came out in 92. I know we've talked about 1992 like it was 50 years ago, but like
Right.
we were all there, but we're
It was
not
a while
100, but
ago.
yeah, but still it was
Yeah.
long enough ago and we
There's a
all
lot of
remember like how it
A lot of
was.
shit was going down there. What year was
Yeah.
the Monica Lewinsky thing? I think that was
It
around this
was that
time,
was like
you know?
94, wasn't it?
Was
93,
it?
94. It wasn't too long after, I think. I don't know. I can't
So,
remember.
yeah.
But again, like that's a good example, like blaming the woman for
Yep.
something. Like it's like he's right there.
Yes. Well, and that's the thing, like, I feel like I kind of made a joke about Michael being useless, but the two, like, father patriarchal men, which I'm not really considering Solomon an element of that kind of dynamic, but
Mhm.
these two men, they're evil. They're either evil or awful, or they're just kind of there. And
Yeah.
yes, Michael is good at the beginning, but then towards the end, he's just kind of like the
Well, like I said,
husband, you know?
it's after she tries to fuck him that he's like, why do you think Peyton's causing problems? Why can't we bring
Yeah.
her on vacation? Like, are you kidding me? Like,
Mm-hmm. No. I didn't remember that she moved into the house too. And I think that's narrative, but I was also like, don't
I
know if
think
you
that's
needed to move
strange.
in.
I'm sorry. Like, it's like I understand it narrative wise, but it's like, do you
Yeah.
really need a live in?
Well, and that's like a
No, you're
thing
not
too.
Frasier.
Like,
Okay.
yeah, like, and I don't understand that. And I know some upper class families, like in New York and stuff, they still do that. And
Yeah, they're au pair sweet.
yeah,
You
they're au
know?
pairs. Like, I love like TikTok has a whole subsection of au pairs that just like tell stories, and it's like
Oof.
I can't imagine living in people's homes. Like, again, I was a
No.
nanny, but here in LA, when you're a nanny, you go home. Like, you go to
Yeah.
your own
Yeah.
home.
Yeah. Well, and that's one of the things I remember back when I was in my early years of teaching. They talk about different socioeconomic statuses and the dangers with them. And in the highest level, when you become like elite, your biggest vulnerability is people, but that's also your biggest asset because when you live in a house where other people are living that are not a part of your family, it puts you at risk because you have to really trust those people. And that's not exactly what we're talking about here, but I think it's this kind of s- maybe stripped down version of that is like who do you trust, what do you use to base that trust in. And I think I'm going to say I think this is good for her because
I yeah.
yeah, I Peyton is fun. I
Who's
really like
her?
Peyton. Well, that's the thing. I think it's good for me because I have said that this movie fucked me up. This movie scarred me. But it's not a problematic message. You know, it was this inhaler thing, it was the greenhouse thing, it was just misconceptions about nursing, which now that I really think about it, I wonder if it was just kind of frustration that it was hard for me, you know? But I think I'm glad I watched this when I was younger because I do think it is a nuanced depiction of women and mothers. And it's
Yeah.
not I mean, while Peyton is the villain, again, it's her husband that's really the villain. And the problem is her husband completely escapes the blame. And she finds herself having to pay for all of this, like with her baby, with her house, with her life. She's lost everything because of this man. And she has nowhere to go with this anger. And so I like what it's saying about women,
Mhm.
which is again just we're not one thing, you know? Rachel, what do you think? Good for her and good for who?
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I don't think it's good for any of the women in this movie. I don't think it's good for Peyton. I think Peyton needed so much help. I also do think like there's an element of class with Peyton and this idea that like, no, I can have it all.
Yeah.
I get everything I want. I get the house,
Mhm.
the doctor husband, the kid. I get all like she can't fathom that she can't just have
The
what she
ugly
wants, right?
wallpaper, all of it.
Yeah.
That wallpaper was
Yeah.
so ugly.
It looked good in the room with the windows, but then in that white room, I was
Yeah,
like,
it
honey.
was very 90s. I don't think it's good for Claire necessarily. Number one, like I'm sorry, she's not going to escape sexual assault and like all of this stuff with her family and her husband and her children and leave that okay.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily, yeah, I don't think it's necessarily good for Claire. I think
Well, her husband's got
she'll
2 broken legs now. She's gonna have
yeah,
to do so
exactly.
much
She's
housework.
going to like maybe she'll trust her gut more moving forward, but I also think like she's going to leave with some serious
Maybe she'll
trust
be more
issues.
paranoid than she needs to.
Yeah, her
And she
friend
lost
is
her
dead.
friend.
Yeah.
And they
Yeah.
left off on a bad note, and like that's
God,
no
I
resolve
kept thinking
there.
about that. The last interaction they had was her being like, you're fucking her.
You're
Like,
fucking Marlene, yeah.
Yeah, and that's not true, and they never got any resolve there, and she ended up dying because of that. And like
Yeah.
she came to like
Yeah.
I just the guilt. And then like yes, obviously not good for Marlene. Um, however, I do think it's good for us, and it's a good for her movie in the fact that I don't feel like it is demonizing any one kind of woman. I think it's very
Yeah.
deftly handled. Even Peyton's character is really kind of nuanced, and there's an element of empathy, or it gives us like an element of empathy for her, how it sets it up, and just the conversation it's having. I think I just did not expect it to be like, oh, I thought you were going to kind of just like lean into these tropes. And it does here and there, but it also resists some at the same
Yeah.
time.
yeah.
And so I really think that's really fascinating. And I liked it. Even the character of Michael, I liked how it kind of pushed back on some things. I'm like, oh, he's he's actually like not gonna like make out with her in the kitchen and pretend it didn't happen and have some sort of overcorrective guilt and that kind of thing.
Exactly what I thought was going to happen.
I kind of like how he's like, no, there's just one woman for me, my wife, you know, and didn't even fall into that trope. And the movie still works, I think, is ultimately why I feel that way. It's stronger because of that resistance to falling into those kind of more tired, expected, erotic thriller tropes that I think that we're kind of used to a little bit more. And while Peyton's crazy, she's not the craziest thriller gal that we've seen.
Yeah. And
so
she's got reasons.
Yeah. So good for us. Like I definitely like did not give this movie enough credit. And I think that's because I was like, oh yeah, okay, cool. There's more here to talk about than I expected. Not just some baby napping.
Right. Well, Shelby, what about you? Good for her?
Yeah, I think I'm with Rachel. It's good for us. It was such a wonderfully surprising movie. I mean, the fact that Rebecca De Mornay several times tries to use her sexuality. I mean, she does try to use it with Michael, but she does kind of try to use it with Solomon when she at first is like, "Do you like looking at me?" You can tell she was kind of hoping that would just work. And it didn't immediately. And he was like, "No, you're weird. I know this is weird, you know?" And the fact that they don't let her sexuality work. Like, I was with you, Rachel, where it was like, oh, yeah, he's going to make out with her. I don't know if he's going to sleep with her, but something's going to happen and he's going to feel bad. And that's going to be a whole other thing. And like,
it's because we've seen a Michael Douglas movie, you know?
Exactly. And like, it was kind of funny, though. It was very realistic in the way he was like, look, objectively, you're hot, but like, there's only one woman for me. I know he didn't say that first part, but like that's kind of the vibe I was getting. Like, I do notice
his eyes popping out of his head.
You are Rebecca De Mornay. I do see the nightgown. It is raining, but
I can see through the nightgown.
Yes, exactly. I see what you got going on, but no, thank you. Which was cool. I liked that. I thought it was more of a realistic. Not that that's a very realistic scenario, but you know, it. In this way and for a 90s thriller.
It happens.
Yeah. It happens. And never happened to me as a nanny, but you know, who knows?
Probably a good thing.
Yeah. God, by the way, when I was a nanny, I was always so careful with the dads, and they were always so careful with me. Like dads, it was so funny because one of the women I nannied for had also been a nanny in her youth, and she was laughing because her husband came home early one day or something, and he was so respectful. He was like the nicest guy, but he was kind of like, I'm just gonna go to the store. And like he like texted her and was like, I didn't know you weren't home, so I just like went to the store. And she was laughing. She was like, isn't it so funny when dads are so weird with nannies because they're so worried about the whole thing? And I was like, you know,
I'd rather than be
like,
overcautious.
yeah, exactly. And so, and I had a few dads who were like, why like one of them, like his wife and the older daughter went to a concert and they weren't home yet when he got home, and he was just like, I didn't know it would just be you. And it was like, I can just go. Your daughter's asleep in the room. I'm just gonna. And it was just like the most awkward fucking thing. But anyway, I digress. But yes, good for her, good for us. I think in that it wasn't good for her, but I liked the fact that what these women went through, it wasn't even because they were women. It was because they were people and this happened to them, you know? And I loved that. Every time Peyton tries to use the fact that she's a woman in this situation, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. And I absolutely love that.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, I think about that with, well, not that, the nanny thing with Halloween a lot, you know, when Annie is just like walking around in the husband's shirt. And like, if I walk in on my nanny wearing Corey's shirt and nothing else, I would be like, what the fuck is going on?
You're fired. Bye-bye. Yeah.
Or, you know, I don't know. I do think in reality, it's usually more complicated than that, you know, and it's not so cut and dry. So yes, we are kind of unanimous on the good for her vibes here, but would we die for this movie? Let's find out in our next category, Die For Me.
Look at her. I would die for her. I would kill for her. Either way, what bliss.
So I'm going to die for The Hand That Rocks the Cradle. I knew I would. I have really had a soft spot for this movie for a long time. It reminds it like, it's just so nostalgic too, like, just everything about this movie screams 90s, like, soft 90s thriller. I love these types of movies, like Sleeping with the Enemy I mentioned, but Single White Female, I also fucking
Mm-hmm.
love. We're gonna have to cover that too.
Oh
So much
yeah.
fun. Mm. And it's like it throws you into the deep end of the pool, and it's like, here's what you think is gonna happen, and then it deconstructs all of these narratives that we've seen before, and I like that, and now it's not perfect, it's still got its problems, it is a relic of its time, but I just really like it as this image of, like, the 90s because this was I was 12 when this came out, and I was looking at my mom, and I was looking at suburbia, and I was, like, old enough to understand, like, not necessarily old enough to understand what was going on with the movie, but, like, what a mom was and what a mom
Mhm.
was supposed to do, and I think I liked seeing these moms fight for their kids at the end too. I've talked about that with Sarah Connor and Diane Freeling, but I think this movie, even Peyton, like, she is willing to die for this kid that she
Yeah.
thinks should be hers too, and I really like that a lot, and when the men are down for the count, for better or for worse, for, like, good or evil, like, the women step up here and they take care of shit, and it's fun. Shelby, are you gonna die for The Hand That Rocks the Cradle?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I'm so happy.
Um, I loved it. I was so pleasantly surprised by it. And I was going into it being like, I'm gonna love this salacious 90s thriller. And then it turned out to be so much more than that. So I loved it even more. And I had no idea there would be this much to mine from it. Like I'm looking at our
Right?
time count right now, and I was
I
like,
know.
when I
I didn't think
first
we were
like clicked play, I was like, oh, it's gonna be probably a pretty quick episode. We've all seen it. And then oh my god, there was so much to unpack here. I did wanna throw out one thing too that I will give to, I was almost gonna say my girl Peyton, I don't wanna say that. But one thing in the surgery when she's going through the surgery, they say out loud too that haunted me was the doctor was like, "We can't give her anesthesia because we just have to, like, go like, we just she's losing too much blood." So she
Yeah.
also went through all of that with no anesthesia. Like, just not to give her credit, but a little like she lost her baby, her husband, and she went through a major surgery with no anesthesia. Like that would make
Yeah,
you
and the
that would
hysterectomy lost the ability to have any
Yeah.
future
yes, like
children. So
that's a whole recipe for cuckoo bananas. And so
Yeah.
like, ugh. Anyway, yes, would definitely die for this movie.
Rachel, how about you?
oh yeah. No, I loved this movie. I thought it was just like so fun. And the anxiety came from like how good the manipulation was with
Mhm.
Peyton, because we know that she knows and that kind of thing. And just like seeing her and then seeing how Claire reacted and just the tension between them. And I was just like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. It was just like so well executed in the dialogue and how it wasn't afraid to like linger on moments, even like the asthma scene when she collapses on the porch. And it's just like,
Oh,
oh my
When
God,
she's just
like it just lingers and you
like,
see like
and
her
then it gets
lips are blue.
closer. Oh.
Yeah. So I just really appreciated those details, and just like how it just sucks you in. So I will die for that because I found this movie to be really unsettling and just very anxiety inducing. More so it's like we watch the bloodiest, goriest, nastiest shit all the time, and I'll be like, ugh, nothing.
Yeah.
But this, like, really, because it's so not believable, but believable. And just like how you can be
Mhm.
with Claire and like, oh, you can't see that. And I can understand how you don't see what she's doing, but we see what she's doing. And it just kind of makes you question and just see how people who are like master manipulators, like Dr. Mott, even just like how they can operate and how that can happen to people. And that's what gives me so much anxiety. So yes, would die for this
Yeah.
movie. Found it to be so much more fun than I expected. So thank you.
I am so happy that you two both enjoyed this so
Yeah,
much.
fellow nail biters out there though, watch out.
So, all gone.
I did not expect y'all to find it so tense. I think because I've just lived with it for so long, I was like, oh, okay, and this is, well, okay, on that note, let's wrap up with what's coming next.
Unlock the next configuration. And then the last. No. I've done enough. Enough.
If you want to follow the show, you can do that on Twitter at The Lady K Pod and on Instagram and Blue Sky at The Lady Killers Pod. You can find me at Jim Ferratu. I mentioned The Boys. Rachel and I are deep into season 5, and it's some shit's going down. So check that show out. That's The Girls on The Boys on the Anatomy of a Scream. Pod Squad. Blah. You can also find me on the Losers Club. We are counting down Stephen King's best books, and I think we're about to be on our 3rd or 4th episode. We're getting into the thick of it, so lots of fun. And then Rachel and I just talked about our ideal King biopic, which was super fun. I did not talk about Jacob Elordi at all.
Lies.
Shelby, I would never. Shelby, where can listeners find you?
First of all, I've been watching so many Anthony Starr interviews. Like, I didn't watch them a lot while this show, like this in the last few years. And he's been doing more interviews, and like just watching him unpack Homelander has been, now that it's just been such a joy. I don't know. There's something that's been so satisfying about it. Anyway, I'm not on Girls with Boys, but on The Boys, but I just had to throw that out there.
Not yet.
Yeah, not yet.
I think when it's all over, I might need to come on and be like,
yes, come on for a season wrap up. That'd be fun.
Yes. So you can find me on the Bloody Disgusting podcast every week. You can find me on the Scary to Sleep podcast. Please go listen to Scary to Sleep. And you can find me on Instagram at Shelby B. Novak, or you can follow my other show at Scary to Sleep or at BD Podcast. I don't remember what the Bloody Disgusting podcast Instagram handle is. You can probably find it though.
I think it's BD Podcast, something like that.
Sure, that you can
I
tell.
just
I
tend to
don't
type in blood
do the
and then
social
find
media
it.
for it. Xena does, so go tell Xena hi if you follow it.
Xena.
That's all the places you can find me.
And Rachel, where can we find you?
You can find me on Instagram at The Vinyl Girl, and on Halloweenies. Hellraiser 4 Bloodline is this month. Adam Scott.
For like 2 minutes.
I just saw that
exactly.
he auditioned for another Hellraiser after that, hoping they wouldn't note it. That's so funny. Oh my god.
That will be discussed. It's already hit the
is
Halloweenies
so
thread,
funny.
so don't worry. And we also did a commentary for Ghoulies, which was a lot of fun, and I'll be leading a rental episode on frailty. So we talked about moms here, and I get to talk about dads and sons over there. So that'll be a lot of fun. So check that out over on Halloweenies.
Well, and because Sammy is not here, she will be back with us soon, but I want to give a recommendation and it's very on brand. I've been fucking obsessed with Love Trapped, the podcast, and the final episode dropped today as we're recording. Final episode of the season so far because we're caught up. It's about the Bachelor, the Bachelor who got with the paternity scandal. It is not what you think it is. It's a very bad woman, and it is so good. I'm obsessed. Love Trapped, the podcast. This is not a plug, but Stephanie, if you want to come on the pod, let us know because I love you. And that is our episode on The Hand That Rocks the Cradle. Thank you so much to my esteemed panel and listeners. Thank you so much for joining us. If you liked this episode, please give us a quick rate and review on Apple Podcasts. Helps people find the pod. It makes us feel good. You can also leave a comment on Spotify. We have been having so many.
Yeah, the comments have been
so
popping
much fun.
off. I love it.
And I want to thank all of our listeners who came to our aid too when someone called us hypocrites for having opinions on French extremity and torture porn. So listeners, you rode for us at dawn, and we thank you. So we are going to be back next week, and we are wrapping up Pregnancy Month. Rachel, what are we watching next week?
We're watching A Nightmare on Elm Street 5, baby. The Dream Child.
Yes.
I've never seen this. I'm very excited. So,
wait, neither one of you have seen this?
I thought I had.
so.
Remember when we were talking, you guys, there was some behind the scenes about this whole
That's true. Yes.
ordeal.
It's so funny. I knew
Is this
Jen
the one with
hadn't
the
seen it, but
TV?
I thought I had. I
No.
think I've seen
Okay,
like this
I haven't
movie.
seen
I
it.
think I've seen pieces of it, but I don't think I've seen the whole thing because I kind of like delved into it the other night and I was like, nope. Haven't seen. I don't
Okay.
remember any of this.
have you seen 4?
Yes,
That's the one with the TV? No, that's 3.
Yeah,
right?
it's 3.
3 is the
Yeah.
TV.
Okay,
You've
do we
seen
need
4.
to see 4 before we see 5?
I'll have to go back over it because it's the final girl from 4 who's back for 5.
I may have seen all of these. I don't know. We'll figure it out.
We'll find out when we cover it.
exactly. won't get
I'll watch
there.
4 and 5 just in case. Because
Yeah.
it's been
It's
so
not the
long
one-
since I've seen any of these, honestly, that it's like, that's why I'm like, I don't know.
I know. Okay, the
Ugh.
one where they turned into the giant roach, that's Freddy versus Jason, right?
No.
Is that this one?
No.
Oh, no. Okay, we're
I
going to
like
get
how
it.
you're guessing all the Nightmare on Elm Street.
Which one's the one where she takes back all the power she ever gave? I'm kidding.
Oh
That's
my
one.
goodness.
We will get it all straightened out next
We'll
week.
figure it
We
out. We'll
will-
be here. Yeah.
I may go back and listen to some old Halloween.
Oh no, okay, so the roach is the roach is from 4,
Okay.
but
I
not
don't like the roach.
okay, well then don't watch 4.
Okay.
But I'll rewatch it and tell you if you have to rewatch.
Okay.
I just know the final girl is, but it's like I don't know if I can't remember if it's like crucial that you know everything about her.
I feel like I kind of have seen this. Okay. We'll figure it
It's
out.
fine. We'll
There's,
figure
like,
it
a
out. But we're covering
cemetery.
5.
That's right. We're covering
We're covering
the
5.
Dream Child. Yes.
The
but
fates
until
decided,
then,
so.
the fates decided. Yes, we leaned on Miss Princess Die, which is an actual
Yes.
die on
Yep.
Shelby's desk. So
Yeah.
fun times there. Very excited. But until then, remember, ladies and ladies, support women's rights, support women's wrongs. And until our next episode, I'm just going to take my baby and go. Oops. I mean, my stuff and go.